Hello, ladies and germs, and welcome to Owlet. We're talking about that minors matchup that you've all been waiting for, Licorice Whip versus Blazing Pegasus. My name is LuvGangster, and I'm joined alongside a Corbec. Corbec, how's it going?
Fine. How are you, Love? It's exciting to cast what promises actually to be quite an interesting matchup here in the run up to Owlet playoffs. I don't know, how familiar are you with the situation of these two teams, Love?
Oh, I'm quite familiar because I've had to go through all of these like tournament standing things and make sure that they're correct. So Blazing Pegasus, there's two storylines going on here. So first, we got Blazing Pegasus, first split, the first I forget the word for what we call it, but the first section of this of Owlet, they went in, they had a tear. They went on a tear. They had so many wins. I think they lost maybe once or twice, so they were like a top three team. And going over into stage two, what happened was they lost, I think, 8 members for various reasons. So they had to basically replace their entire team. And since then, they've lost every single game leading up to this game. And the story is the same for Licorice Whip, but not only have they lost every single game on this stage, but they also lost every game last stage. So, someone's got to win this matchup here, and Blazing Pegasus is looking to win so they can get into the playoffs. If they don't win this one, it's going to look very grim for them in terms of the playoff picture. So we'll see who can win as we go straight into the game. Wow. So Corbec, as we go on to Busan, what do you expect out of these two teams that are maybe struggling just a little bit in the second stage?
Well, word on the street is that Licorice Whip, despite not having won a game so far, have been looking stronger and stronger, while Blazing Pegasus, I think, has been struggling more and more after having to replace a significant portion of their roster. Shades of Shanghai here for both these teams, should we say. Going into Busan, I mean, I think we all know still what kind of the dominant... we're in an awkward time here, aren't we, LuvGangster, in terms of what the dominant meta is for teams that want to play. But on Busan, I played last night in another league on this map. It was GOATS. It was still GOATS, the infamous 3-3, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw both teams come out with something similar. But given that it is minors, creativity is encouraged. And even as they say that, we say 360 on a Bastion, so it's switched to Widowmaker, actually.
I'm a little bit disappointed. I saw a Bastion and I saw Symmetra, so those are actually two things that go together. So I was like, all right, let's do it.
They do indeed go together. The old teleport and Bastion is scarier than perhaps some people give it credit for. So Farmer C on one side, Widowmaker's featured heavily in both teams as we get started here.
Yeah, it's a very interesting sort of team composition coming out from these two teams. 360, I've known as a main tank. I know he has a lot of Reinhardt play in Owlet, but now he's switched over to the Widowmaker. I've heard some good things about him. So let's see who wins versus... Oh, it looks like Sparks takes the first win here, getting the headshot onto 360, and now Tomiko should have free reign on top of them to do as much damage as possible. The reliable res gets that reliable res off on 360, and so now, right now, we see Licorice Whip having the advantage in terms of positioning, but pick goes on the backside onto Sparks, or 360 getting the revenge kill. Since they do have the positioning advantage, they should be able to cap this point, but no one is stepping on it. They are afraid of it. The floor is lava. They're actually doing it now, so they're going to be able to get this cap, but 360 raining down above them right now. So yeah. What they can do?
They need to really do something about 360, obviously, up on the high ground there. Spark got a good early kill to shut the Widowmaker down, but uncontested, showing some dangerous skills, even though Tomiko now back up, and you can see it putting in some damage on the point, keeping it together. But these reses by both Mercies absolutely huge right now to keep this going, Love.
Yeah, it is, although we see Sarah DG go down. They actually got a kill onto Sir Derpslot, so usually when the main tank goes down, that's that, but the res plus Sarah DG going down equals name of the team who I'm forgetting winning at this point.
They'll clean the deck there, and again we see 360 just savage on the outside edge, kind of uncontested on this Widowmaker. Spark never really had another opportunity to set up in a good spot to contest, and they're being rather sneaky now with this sort of dive up on the high ground, waiting to see which direction they're going to take. It looks like Vagabond sneaking out just there for a little bit of a scout love before. Oh, they might have seen it, but they're going to... I don't know. They're trying to decide whether they want to take that engagement or they want to rotate straight around a point. It looks like they finally decided on going point.
Yeah, it looks like they decided a little bit too late, though, as Reliable Res has to use per res onto Vagabond. Now they're going to come in, but now the positioning is a little bit worse for them. They're kind of split up, so they need to come in together if they want to have any chance of winning this. Or they can use, a shatter coming out onto Vagabond by SarahDG, saying, no blade today. There goes Vagabond, and now, after getting booped off the map, I mean, this is going to be a one team fight for the Licorice Whip, as the sneaky plays just didn't work out for them.
No, and unfortunately, it all started with Vagabond getting picked so early on. That good shot by Spark in the back line there. They forced the res out very early from reliable res. Great name, by the way, considering how reliable the reses have been so far. But that forced that out early, and then it became just a fight on the point. But still, I do feel like there's an opportunity for them to come back here. And even as I say that, Vagabond gets the Spark, and immediately there's the res from Kitten.
Yes, tons of reses coming out, and we have a few ults for both teams. QuiteGame has his mech, he's going to have his bomb up, but he's going to have to stay in the mech to stop Tomiko, although Tomiko gets stopped by 360. 360 has just been super dominant so far on this Widowmaker. What can they do to contest him?
Oh, here comes the D.Va Bomb over the top, see if they get anything off of that. They do. Pearl will go down. But the fight continuing here.
Yeah, this entire time, the entire time they've had the point captured, even though they've been losing a lot of these team fights. So incredibly, they're going to have about 85%, 86% here, as finally Blazing Pegasus is going to take over control. So what can they do to stop 360? Sorry, that's what I was trying to ask you before.
I mean, to a certain extent here, Licorice Whip is being a bit, I don't want to say disrespectful, but perhaps not respecting 360's Widowmaker enough. They're sticking on that Pharah pick, even though Tomiko, can't quite pronounce the name correctly, my apologies, is sitting on that barrage, so they want to use that, but I think the time for that swap has probably come. I mean, again, the temptation here, if I was the coach, I'd be telling them to go 3 tanks, 3 support, and just load up and minimize sightlines on point, and stay alive for as long as possible.
We see an early kill onto Cornish, and that's going to allow SarahDG to walk in and smash reliable res. That's 2 healers down on the side of Blazing Pegasus, and so this is going to give them an easy time to just cap it right back, and now they're going to have to take a probably losing team fight. We see Derpslaw go in, try to do as much damage as possible, but not able to do anything. 360 sitting in the backline, trying to get another headshot to win this one for his team, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it. Vagabond coming in here with a solo, actually he's with someone. Tomiko using her ult, able to get Vagabond the ulting Genji, and that's going to be that for that team fight. Wow. It looked as though that they were winning like basically everything. They were getting more picks, but at the end they weren't able to do anything off of it.
It's no Overwatch League, I'll tell you that, but it is interesting to see the decision-making process that went into that. One of these things, I think, Love, that we see from lower-ranked teams, and it's not a knock on them necessarily, but it's a skill that people begin to acquire after they've been playing together for a while and as they improve in rank, is just the need to disengage from fights. And I think that's probably a good situation where there was an example of that. There was an opportunity for Winston to jump back out, Sir Derpsalot, maybe regroup with the team. They had lost the point already, so any point in contesting was pretty much moot. They weren't delaying any time. And if the team could have reset, gone in together, there might have been some more room for Vagabond to really make use of that Genji blade instead of kind of getting solo barrage, not the counter you expect to see, but getting solo barraged and just ending it right there. But good read by both Pearl and Tomiko to just shut that down and prevent any heroics.
Yeah, and so now, in response to losing the first map, they're going to switch to a different composition here. Very interesting. We see the Soldier 76, newly buffed. He's brand new and shiny. He's going to come out here and do some work, hopefully, for the side of Blazing Pegasus. We see Sparks take out Vagabond early, though, so that's not looking good. All with SarahDG getting crippled looks even worse. 360 able to do the things that you're supposed to do with that newly buffed soldier, and now SarahDG coming back in and immediately charging into the team. This is just a general mayhem skirmish right now. SarahDG getting another big purple onto her, but is able to get cleansed from Cytheria's bubble. The shatter coming out a little bit unnecessary because it looks like they won the team fight. Sir Derpflat trying to respond actually in kind, gets a 2k, gets a 3k. So actually this is going to be huge. They're going to cap here. Licorice is going to cap it. It looks like it's going to be an easy recap for them. They're only going to get about, I don't know how much, because it looks like they're just going to trickle in here and die, so...
10% maybe?
Yeah, 9-10%.
9-10%. Yeah, there we go. Still an interesting little maneuver there by Tomiko at the Pharmacy, actually, to sneak in back there and try and get that cap kind of behind the scenes. I really thought they had that when the initial shatter went in from Sarah DG, and then Sir Derpsalot just managed to turn it around. All credit too, I think, needs to be directed to reliable res on this Ana. Has been providing amazing heals to keep Derpsalot in that tank fight on the front line. And you can see it happening again right now as they engage in this sort of choke point here. Reliable res basically just pocketing Sir Derpsalot, letting him swing away with that hammer.
He might as well do it because he's got a big hammer right now. They got 2 easy kills there. I think the Soldier 76 pick was to counter Tomiko, and it looks like it's been doing a fairly decent job of doing so. There's a lot of ults on both sides for both teams. What do you think is going to come out here in this team fight?
Well, theoretically, now see, the Valkyrie would be the trigger for the tac visor in my mind, and there it is, right off the top. See if they can get anything out of it. Fire barrage. They clean up.
Yeah, I don't think they even needed to use the visor there from 360. It was a huge shatter and then a big purple from reliable res afterwards. It was easy picking since I think that was a 4-man shatter, maybe a 5-man shatter. So now, after that one team fight, they're going to come back, make some changes on the side of Licorice when we see the Reaper and the Sombra. What do you think about these picks?
Well, I think the big thing we need to actually watch out for is on the side of Blazing Pegasus, the EMP and grab combo right there. Probably just a fight ender if it's executed correctly. I think I see where they're going with the Reaper, and I do think the Sombra is a good pick, just considering the place she is in right now. But that EMP grab could just end this. There it is.
There's an EMP grab, 4 people in it, and that's all she wrote for that. It looks like that's all she wrote for the map as well, because there's not really much else you can do here. Cytheria jumps on point, but that's going to be it. So, I don't know, it's a little unfortunate for them, and now they're just using ults for fun. What do you do there? I'll add Licorice
trans. The classic victory trans, and a victory nano as well. Why not?
If they look back at that in the stats, though, because it's like 0 healing with the trance, you know? I wouldn't have done it.
It's true, it's fair. You gotta play with those stats, you know? Don't want to let your fantasy roster down,
exactly. All these stats that Blizzard are
Owlet
giving.
Fantasy coming soon to a computer near you. But if you're in this situation as Licorice Whip, I think you just stabilize a little bit. You understand that was a bit of a rough run. Things didn't quite go the way that you wanted to. You didn't quite have an opportunity to play the game plan when you wanted to play, which was Spark picking up that Widowmaker. You made maybe some swaps that you were a little uncomfortable with. I do think if the Sombra swap had come in earlier and they'd actually been able to play off the EMP last map, it would have really helped them in those tight choke battles. The Reaper as well, to a certain extent. It wasn't a bad call. It was just a call that came a little too late.
Yeah, for sure. Ult economy being such an important thing. We see Tomiko and Kitten Please flying around in the midpoint while the rest of the team goes around the left-hand side. Meanwhile, we have the boys of Blazing Pegasus going down mid around this Tycho drum. Positioning is about equal right now. See who gets the first blood, though. Sarah DG getting a little hurt, but able to come back up as we see Spark saving the first kill and Sarah DG falling in kind. So now it's a 4v6 fight, and unless 360 can do some big work here, that's all she wrote for that. I believe it will be. Quiet Game is lit like a bick right now, but I'm not going to be able to do much. Actually, it looks like Quiet Game's going to be able to get out. That's actually quite impressive.
Again, another great effort here by Reliable Reds to actually enable Quiet Game to get out of that situation. That was not looking good as far as the escape for the Zarya goes. And just keeping that energy up and keeping Zarya with any charge at all is so valuable. And they're doing a great job of guaranteeing that. But on the other side, really just looking dominant. And Spark is kind of the catalyst for a lot of their early picks.
Yeah, now Spark using that trend. Oh, look at the big... Oh, so many ults coming in right now. 360 able to get Tomiko, but too little too late right there as we see 4 people on the side of Blazing Pegasus. Now 5 go down. Megamon's about to follow in kind.
Blazing Pegasus, I think, struggling just a little bit here, but they are building up ults even as we speak. They have the Shatter, they have the Nano coming online, nearly at a sound barrier as well, and a Pulse Bomb. I think Nano Reinhardt is probably the play we want to see here, see if you can get an opportunistic Shatter as well. Pulse Bomb actually maybe not a bad idea to try and open it up just a little bit, but we'll see if they're able to do anything of that sort. Oh, never mind, they don't need to.
Yeah, they don't. They get the 4-man Shatter. Actually, they're not able to do anything because Pearl's big sound barrier going to keep everyone alive. Sir Derpsalot has the HGH on him, but he's going to get smacked into a wall, and so right now, it can be anyone's fight. Tomiko getting 3 kills in this team fight already. The grab's a little too late. Tomiko's a 4th kill. That's a 4K for Tomiko, which is going to win them the team fight. It looks dire right now for Blazing Pegasus.
So I'm not exactly sure what happened right there, Love, but after that Shatter came down. For some reason, the Nano came in, and then Sir Derpsalot kind of got knocked back. And I don't know if he missed Pearl. I didn't quite catch it on the Shatter, and Pearl booped him away from following up on that. But something disrupted the momentum, or whether a bad call was made, and they weren't able to follow up on that before the sound barrier dropped.
Yeah, Spark getting a kill in the Cornish in the meanwhile. It could have been also Tomiko using her boot, but Tomiko getting a kill onto Quiet Game. She's been having a major... she's been huge this map. Tomiko getting another kill for reliable res. That's huge. Okay, so right now, kind of an equal team fight. We see a Shatter come out, though, from, I believe, Sir Derpslot, and it might turn it the way of Blazing Pegasus, although a huge res coming out of Cytheria. Cytheria does not have ult, but Zarya is super powerful, and this is actually turning the way of Licorice right now. What's going on?
Is it turning the way of Blazing Pegasus? I don't know. You got 360 on the soldier here just running around trying to stay alive. This isn't the positioning you want on that particular hero, but somebody has to be up to their contested point, and out comes the tack visor real quick, but it's almost immediately countered by the sound barrier, and the fight goes on here. They're just trying to wipe out these last couple of stall heroes and just take this back.
Yeah, no kills have gone either way until finally Vagabond comes in. Tomiko gets one kill on the 360. It's actually a huge kill because 360 is doing so much work. Vagabond causing havoc in the backline. They're able to get the cap in the middle of all that fighting. So Cornish using the Kamehameha wave at the end just to cap it off for him. So now we're looking at 99 points for Licorice Whip. They have to go the whole way, get 100. So if you're on the side of Blazing Pegasus, you switch over to the Hammond. What do you think is going to happen here? What do you think is the play?
To be honest, this is desperation mode, isn't it? I mean, both teams, the only advantage you really have going for yourself right now if you're Blazing Pegasus is that so many ults were contributed to that fight. You are sitting on 3, the other team is sitting on none. But you just have to hope that Sir Derpsalot can kind of play a decent Hammond, keep himself alive, and you can't even afford to lose a team fight here.
I can't even afford to lose one. We see the Diva Bomb come out. It's not going to be able to get anyone. It's going to kind of move Sarah DG out of the way of the rest of her team, though. So Vagabond still in the backline causing a ton of damage. Not really a lot of peel there. But kills are going either way. Quiet Game and Vagabond going down. Sarah DG finally using her ult. That's 2 people, but that's huge anyways because 360 goes down. Sir Derpslot's going to stay alive forever because he's playing hamster. Sarah DG getting the swing onto Quiet Game at the end there right before she was about to get back in the next. That's huge for them. Pearl using that sound barrier to keep him alive against this Hammond. They're trying to kill the Hammond, but Hammond is so hard to kill because he just moves around so quickly. Sparks gets a kill. Tomiko was trying to use the ult, I think, to kill Sir Derpslot, but not able to do anything with it. Sparks.
Nano visor.
Nano visor does come out there. He gets solo grabbed and not able to kill him, actually, so he's able to stay alive just a little bit longer, but Sparks able to come up. Sparks getting a 4K in that team fight, but there's still people on the point here for Blazing Pegasus. This is not over just yet. Quiet Game going into Sarah DG with the baby Diva, but it doesn't matter because Sarah DG is just going to kill everything on the map. I don't know what's going on. Corbec, what can they do here?
Well, again, that will end it. And I will say that I think the biggest problem we had right there was just an inability to finish off those stall heroes in a timely manner. And given the recent, patch changes, especially to Mr. Roly Poly Oly himself, Wrecking Ball, it becomes significantly harder to divest him from a point once he's kind of made it his home. Oh, this was nasty. Just like in the hallway. The minute you hear that Valkyrie noise go off as a Super 76 player, your kind of instinct is to pop that tack visor and just shoot the big flying glowy woman in the sky and take him out right away. But I think the big problem there was just an inability to kill those stall heroes. Love. I mean, it seems quite obvious. It's hard to get the level of coordination down for a team to just say everybody die upon Hammond, focus him down, or everybody get the Tracer no blinks. And it's a skill that you work up over time in order to get that target calling down to the point where those stall heroes become less of a problem and more of just a trickle that you have to defeat.
Right. It's just hard. I mean, I've casted a lot of these minor games, and one of the biggest things that separates minors from majors and a lot of other Overwatch is the fact that they do have struggles with killing those pesky like Hammond sort of characters or Tracer sort of characters, and especially if you're not running like a diva. Like Licorice wasn't running a diva, so I think it makes it extra hard to like peel for your backline whenever you have a character like that. So but they managed to overcome it with just pure aggression, which is what you do when you run a Zarya. So now just the angriest of Russian women just walking at you. Exactly. She just goes roar. Anyways, We're going into the Dorado map, so do you have any comments about what you think you're going to see here after watching this first map from these two teams?
I think credit to both of them, and it's good for everybody watching as well. These two teams do actually seem to be quite evenly matched in terms of skill. That was a very close game. It was a good job by Pegasus actually to flip that around and keep that going for as long as they did. And it could have gone their way. I mean, I think something that just speaks to the lack of target calling was the fact that Tree 60 on that Soldier 76, not admittedly the most survivable hero in the game, was sort of just able to do the soldier shuffle around the point for so long in the midst of all that. Again, not like I said before, not the kind of place where you want to be, but
no,
we've seen a lot of Widowmaker action from both these teams. Both Spark and Tree 60 have been putting in very good performances on everybody's favorite French sniper. It would not surprise, not that there are many French snipers out there that people can choose for their favorites, but still, it would not surprise me at all to see them both coming out with that again on Dorado. In fact, I would almost expect it. And I think it's down to each team to decide exactly how they want to contest that, because so far, neither of those Widowmakers has really suffered much pressure at all. There's not been divas in their face. There's not been a Lucio up there trying to cause them, significant discomfort, whatever it is. Neither team has really addressed that threat. And we saw Tree 60, especially on Busan, just take advantage of that space to deal so much damage.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I missed the second half of everything that you said, because after you said French sniper, I Google searched French sniper and I found a picture of a man with a baguette through both ends of his head. So that's what I was doing. Yeah, a little unfortunate, but that's what the French. That's the power of the French. Okay. Do you know any French, Corbec?
I was given the option in high school to take French or Spanish, and I chose Spanish, and I regret actually that I didn't take French. I ended up needing to speak French probably more in life than I needed to speak Spanish.
Wow, that's interesting. That doesn't happen for most people.
No.
Anyways, you should.
German was on the menu too, but I didn't jump on that for some reason. Well, only one country in the world speaks it, so it's a little more niche.
That's true. Luckily for you, though, we are going to Dorado, so that Spanish is going to come in, pretty handily.
Unfortunately, to tell you the truth, Love, I really remember absolutely 4 years of Spanish in high school. I remember absolutely nothing except where's the library and where's the bathroom. Neither of which would necessarily help me if I was, kidnapped in a hostage situation somewhere south of the border. It's the last thing they want to hear is somebody just asking for the library again and again.
Well, it depends on who kidnaps you, excuse me. Because, if you're kidnapped by, librarians or something, yeah, exactly. They'll be like, wow, I actually respect this hostage, They might let you free or let you join.
I respect this desire to find the library. But speaking of, I guess, Spanish Dorado, we go to this map and we look at it. It's escort, nearly called it a hybrid. It is not. I think we see the Widowmaker plays. I think the other thing, maybe, and I don't know how you feel about this, Love, is the idea of, do they go with the Reinhardts or do they go with the dive tank? We've seen the Winston played a couple of times now. By both sides seem willing to sort of bring it out. Do they go for that on Dorado, given its high ground?
I think Sarah DG is just a monster Reinhardt. I think she's just going to stick on that Reinhardt and just play it out all of these maps. It doesn't matter what map. If we were on New Bonnie, she'd play Reinhardt. I think that's what's going to happen here for Licorice Whip. Now, for the side of Blazing Pegasus, Sir Derpslot, known to flex a little bit to that Winston. It just depends on what they run. If they run a Widowmaker, I would like to see Dive come out, because you have Tree 60 who's been playing so well. You just have him call out things that he's been getting damage on, I headshot, Diva, I headshot this character, or whatever, and then they dive in on the person they headshot. I mean, that's a formula for success in this game. So,
it really is. I agree 100%. I mean, given how much space Tree 60 is getting and how much damage they've been able to output here, it would make a lot of sense if you had a Trace Genji out, or even a Sombra out to just add to that damage. But looking at it now, as they select these initial team comps, it actually looks like they're going to go for a double hit scan with 360 on the Soldier 76 and Vagabond picking up the Ash. So maybe trying to combine that burst damage. Interestingly enough, I feel like, Love, you would expect to see 360 on the Ash, not this particular setup, but maybe they just feel more comfortable running the Soldier.
Well, maybe Vagabond's been practicing the Ash, and, the Soldier has been buffed recently, and so that's going to play a pretty key part here, especially, I'm not exactly sure what they're going to run here on the side of Licorice Whip. It's a bit It's interesting right now. I mean, they could just be baiting us. No, it doesn't look like they're baiting us. They're going to be running the Bastions.
It's the classic sort of, pirate ship, protect the president, whatever variety of terms you want to give to it. We get to see Sarah TG's Arista play here. How long can they keep Spark alive? And inadvertently, too, removing the really good Widowmaker from contention here. But keeping that Pharah, I think, up in the sky to just cause a little bit of havoc and maybe take some of the pressure off Mr. Big Machine Gun on the cart.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward right now for Blazing Pegasus. They're actually going to dive in right now, but it was really bad because they lost like all of the shield health before they dove in. So now all Sparks needs to do is stay alive and do damage, but it looks like the shield is a little bit awkwardly placed. It doesn't really matter because Cornish is going to go down. It's not really going to lead to much here for Blazing Pegasus. There's reliable res, Tree 60, everyone's going to go down, and they're going to start to push this car here in just a little bit. As I'm looking at these ults, they've switched it up a little bit. We have the Winston, we have the Zenyatta now. So what do you think about switching characters here?
I would say that swaps, need to be made almost immediately. I don't think they expected the pirate ship coming out, and you can see that there are counter it. I, for one, think the Sombra change is essential. You could leave Vagabond on the Ashe. I think Bob can be good for disrupting the pirate ship at times. I do like the intent of what they tried to flex to there, where they dropped down off that high ground love and just dropped directly on top of the Bastion. Unfortunately, they were just a little slow to execute, and it only takes a second for the Bastion to get in a ton of damage, and Spark was more than happy to take advantage of that second.
Right, it didn't seem as though they had the Diva, I think. I think they had a Zarya instead, so that's also a little bit more difficult when you're trying to bum rush a Bastion. So anyways, they're going to be pushing in here with a lot of ults, or close to having a lot of ults. We see Surge Slot and Quiet Game come in immediately. Quiet Game holding that right click on the Bastion's able to get him down, but not after Tomiko rains down Justice. Not using the ult, excuse me. I just use that as a phrase. But he gets 2 kills and now has the ult, so she will be able to rain down Justice in just a second. 360 gonna get sucked and then absolutely crushed by Tomiko's rocket. So 4 ults, almost 5 on the side of Licorice Whip. This is the problem with switching characters, though. You're not gonna have the ults in your advantage.
Well, they did divest the Bastion from the payload, but unfortunately he's come back now. They weren't able to keep the pressure on and re-secure it, really prevent him from setting back up. So once again, they're just going to have to contest with the pirate ship here.
And here comes the bongos onto the pirate ship. Sarah G is the one who gets hacked there, which is a little bit unfortunate for Tree 60, although there goes the bongos. But it was enough to get 1 kill, and as well as Quiet Game's mech, so they're just going to keep rolling this on to the next point. Wow, this has been kind of a speed run. I don't think I've seen them get stopped more than for a few seconds after a dive.
And it's because they haven't. They've kept going the entire time, struggling for answers here. They need the ultimates to build up, and this is a really tentative bomb, but hey, if it works, it works. It lands just in the right place. Whether by luck or skill, it doesn't really matter, because it takes out 2 DPS and again slows this roll. Tree 60 still does not have an EMP, and that is the absolutely crucial, critical ultimate you need in order to get rid of this Bastion.
Well, here comes the bomb without the EMP, not able to do anything. It was a little bit too high. Tomiko getting hacked in the backline, able to fly away just in the nick of time. Sparks goes down, and that's actually going to be huge. It's going to allow Bobber to come out and get a kill on Sarah DG. And now this is going to be the first stop, I believe, for the side of Blazing Pegasus. Now they get to relax, rest for a little bit, and now they have the ultimate advantage.
Oh, Tomiko just trying to sneak out there at the end. Love won't quite make it. Gets brought down. But yeah, I agree here with, that's the first stop they've had. Now it's absolutely essential. I was going to say that they don't let the Bastion set back up, but no, Spark has actually switched over to a Reaper here. But they're sitting now on the EMP. And not a lot of other ults to combine with it, but they do have it, and if used correctly, it will be an absolute fight winner for them. And oh no, they're going to engage directly on high ground, close quarters, exactly where they want to be.
Yeah, here comes the Kamehameha wave. Tomiko gonna ult, but the EMP comes in right in the nick of time to stop it. This is still anyone's team fight though. Tomiko in the backline, trying not to die to Tree 60. Tree 60 is able to take out Tomiko, although I think the Rez is gonna try to come onto him. No, it looks like they're gonna just lose this team fight. Quite getting 2 here.
Look at Quiet Game with the Buddy Blaster action, though. Like, divested of the mech, running around with a little sidearm, manages to take out Reinhardt and then finish off 2 more kills there.
That was in the Baby Diva?
That was the Baby Diva, yes. Bunny Blaster all over the place, doing a great job, actually basically winning that for the team, not gonna lie. I don't know if they did the majority of the damage once they were on the low ground, but they finished off the kills, and that's all that was necessary. Now you see Tomiko actually switching off the Pharah over to a Sombra. So Sombra is coming out from, oh no, 360 is actually going to switch over to a Soldier now at this last second. So one team gets the Sombra, the other team drops them. They're probably going to want to try and use some of this time back here to build up to an EMP and then drop a big Reaper ult. If I had to guess what the plan was, considering how far away Diva Bomb is at this time.
Yeah, very interesting switches coming out from both teams. Looks like, you know, Galaxy Green, certain things happening. We see Quiet Game happen. That's going to allow Licorice to walk forward. Quiet Game trying to not take as much damage as possible. Does take too much damage. You see the high spoon from the background. Cytheria stopping all of those high spoons from going off. Great job, great awareness from Cytheria. I know for sure I would have missed that. And Vagabond goes down, so now they're fighting a 5v6, and I think Quiet Game is still DMX, still doing the Baby D, the challenge. So right now, they have the advantage in this team fight. Here comes the Valkyrie. They're going to do as much as they can. The HH does come out, though, on the Sir Derp slot. They're going to try to keep Sarah DG alive, but here comes the Shatter. They're going to get Kitten Please and Cytheria's mech, and everyone's just going to fall on the backside. So that was a really good recovery there from the side of Blazing Pegasus.
Tomiko, though, getting ever closer to that EMP, though under a lot of pressure up there on the high ground. Quiet Game essentially going straight for Sombra. A little duel there. Tomiko will go down, but not before generating a significant amount of ult charge there. And if you're watching at home, that's the number you want to keep an eye on right here, is how quickly can they get that last couple of percentage, and then how do they use that EMP. The winning combo is kind of in play right now. You're going to have Cythera's bomb come up, or Sparks Reaper ultimate. Either one of those will pair really well with the EMP that Tomiko just ended up with. If they can draw them again into that kind of high ground fight and unleash one of those ults up there, it could be a team win, and a team win might actually be enough for them to push this through.
Some of the problem with this team composition, though, for the side of Blazing Pegasus is that they kind of had to be mid-range or closer, so the MP, so they're all going to be kind of grouped in together. We see Vagabond go down, although a lot of people on the side of Licorice Whip are hurt and they're taking a lot of damage. They need to be really careful. 360 just having free reign over them right now.
Tomiko's leading. Alright, it's got to come out at some point in time. There it is. And there's the follow-up, both the Shatter and the Reaper ultimate coming out in the midst of that action to push that forward, Love, and that might be enough to secure them a point take, depending on how long Vagabond can stall for.
Yeah, for sure, but May is known for her stalls, so I know she's going to be a little devil, stay on this point for a little bit longer. Never mind, she's going to get smacked into a wall. The bomb comes out from Cytheria, and I think that's going to be that. No, we see Cornish here coming in, and 360 playing Bastion, able to get a kill on Sarah DG. This is crazy. Here comes the Shatter. The two healers in the back. Excuse me, not the two healers. Reaper heals himself, so I guess he's a healer. But he gets smacked in the back. Like, no one's able to go down. The 360 is down to the side of Blazing Pegasus, and there's just a general skirmish around everywhere. Vagabond going to that Hammond. We know how hard it is to kill Hammond from the first map. I don't know what to say right now, because everything is actually now it's going the way of Blazing Pegasus, but they were able to push it a little bit further than I suspected. Actually, I don't know. The team fight's still going on. Take it away from you, Corbec, because I can't speak right now.
No, they're continuing to go here. The two hamsters just rolling around the point. Both of them trying to contest. Meanwhile, Lucio here, John Belushi, firing away, keeping it. Oh, he's pinned right out of it. So it's just Kitten Please now, just trying to keep the hamster alive. Unfortunately, hamster is anti-nated there. He will go down. So now Sparks on the Reaper, just keeping it together. Cythera now with the touch, but the Transcendence coming out, and I think that has to signal the end of this very brilliant attempt to just finish this off. No, even as I say that, Tomiko now will drop in. Cythera living for a little bit longer on top of the point, and then finally, with a final maneuver there, they will get rid of Tomiko. So a long stall, taking advantage of that time bank, I would say there, or that spawn advantage, I should say, to win that one out.
They pushed that car so close to the end. I believe it was 0.75 meters away from touching it. So that's going to be a lot of work for Blazing Pegasus to push it as far, as well as a lot of work for Licorice Whip to hold them just at the very end. It's more or less as if they cap, but now, you know, if they cap, then there's no like second round. That's basically what it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we pretty much saw there, the problem was the Transcendence, actually. When that came out for the defenders, which allowed 360 on that Bastion to just stay alive and chunk in a bunch of damage, kind of uncontested, that was sort of the tipping point. Once you're in a stall mode and a Zenyatta comes out with Transcendence to keep the rest of the team alive, that buys so much time for the stalling team to keep going. And again, look, it's kind of like what we were saying on last map on Busan, a real struggle by both these teams actually to just take out the stall characters and keep keep things secure and just sort of end the fight. Never very easy at this level.
No, it's not. Although we do see what I believe to be is the quintessential like miners composition here coming out for Blazing Pegasus. We have the Reinhardt, we have the Bastion, we have the Junkrat. So I think these are the sort of characters that if you're having trouble picking off, certain people, you get a ton of general damage in. You have 360, just click for a few seconds on someone, and it's basically that. So we'll see how their pirate ship sort of thing is going to work out for them as they push here at the beginning. They don't have the Arista though.
Playing it very aggressively, actually, just trying to stall the pirate ship before it can even set up. It's not a strategy you often see, considering how long it's going to take for the walk back if you are to lose this fight. Immediately losing John Belushi, that's not great.
No, it's not, but they're able to take 360 out, although Reliable Res gets it. Reliable Res on the 360. I believe that Res will be a little bit more important in this team fight. We already have a Shatter coming out. What is this? What's going on? Okay, Sarah DG just got in the background somehow, and I think shattered 360. Is that what happened?
Sarah GG, I think, charged through the formation, did not get brought down, turned around and dropped the Shatter, but as you can see there, Love, it wasn't really ultimately effective, all things considered. Not a waste of an ultimate per se, but it was thrown in when the team fight was significantly not in favor of Licorice Whip. Again, a team composition, Licorice Whip did not, by the looks of it, maybe come out expecting this, or if they did, their strategy for handling it was a bit odd, to say the least.
Well, it looks like they've made the necessary switches. They have Diva coming out, which is going to be super important to kill 360. Here comes Sir Derpslot doing his best Mark McGuire impersonation, swinging his hammer on the Sarah DG and able to get Sarah DG because he got purple. But the Shatter is blocked right at the end by Tomiko, getting the kill on the Sir Derpslot. So they're able to push him back here in this first pick, which is not something that Blazing Pegasus was able to do on their first defense.
And they will actually, they will halt the Bastion and actually force the switch there. 360 going back to the Soldier that they've been so comfortable with. Vagabond, though, nearly at a tire here. So a lot of ults on the boards for both teams. Licorice Whip, though, really with the advantage. A lot going to depend on how well Tomiko can execute this barrage and how well they can kind of draw them into this.
Yeah, they're just going to wait for them to walk through this little choke, and Tomiko's going to use the ult. Although, I like the early tire. They're going to try getting Tomiko.
Oh, it's big!
More than Tomiko. Yeah, they're going to get two. And now it looks like they're just going to be able to push forward. So, they use two ults there on the side of Licorice Whip as well, so it's not looking too good for them. Although they do have that barrage and the Valkyrie. Although we're going to see John Belushi going to get picked? No, we have Siberia stopping that from happening. But yeah, pretty easy cap once they kill 4 people on the side of Blazing Pegasus. Vagabond goes down by Tomiko. I think that's at the beginning you were wondering about, team positions and if they were ready for it or not. Tomiko basically counters Vagabond on that Junkrat as we see him switch over to Hanzo. So, that's why maybe they just weren't doing it right. We see Tomiko using ult early. I was not expecting. What happened there?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, but now they're following up 2 big Earth Shatters in a row here. Sir Derpslot coming in, just trying to clear things out, and that will force the team to pack up there. Sparks taking a lot of fire up on the nest as well. I do not know actually what happened right there, Love. I think perhaps Tomiko had eyes that were bigger than their stomach. They thought that there was an opportunity maybe to feast a little bit, catch Sir Derpslot out of position, and instead, that didn't quite go as planned.
No, it didn't. We see these 2 snipers dueling against each other, and Sparks is actually getting the worst of it. Huge grenade coming around this side. Wow, big brain. We see a 2-man grab come out here, as well as the HGH Reinhardt. They're going to pin in a lot of damage on the Cytheria. Cytheria is going to use that bomb, try to get in, but the bomb went a little bit too far out of the way. King Fleet's going to use the pressure net, though, to res Sarah DG, although Sarah DG gets res straight into a Shatter. It looks like it'll be another one team fight for Blazing Pegasus. So both these teams more or less rolling on their offenses up into the second point. Do you think it's going to be the same here, though, where they're going to have a good defense, though?
I mean, I actually think probably we're going to see Blazing Pegasus continue this run. Tomiko still on the Pharah. Pharah does not do well in this interior part of the map. It is a oh nope, there's a switch. Man, it's like they know what I'm about to say and they take action. That's great play by them. Switch to the Sombra. That's exactly what you want to see in here. Sparks as well coming out on the Junkrat is an excellent call. Keep the healing lineups and keep the tanks. It's exactly what they need to do. It's a cheeky little dragons there. Won't really get anyone. It did actually split off 2 members of the team, but there was no real follow-up on it. That was a good opportunity for them to kind of run forward and maybe get a pick. But it didn't happen.
I think that they didn't say when the ult was going to go off and so. But we see a hack coming in onto, I think, Sir Derplot, and that's going to allow John Belushi to use the Kamehameha wave to kill him, and Cornish is going to fall down as well. So they're going to back up here. The first successful defense for Licorice on this 3rd point. So let's talk a little bit about this Junkrat. I think they buffed him, right, with the reset.
I do believe they buffed his direct damage, but interesting to note here, though, that Junkrat Soldier has been considered for a long time to be one of Junkrat's sort of counters. Same could actually be said of Vagabond on that Hanzo. He's actually they're actually nearly at another dragons, considering that one that sort of impetuously threw across the point. A lot is going to depend on the results of the fights up on the high ground, but a credit to Cythera there and the D actually jumping straight up there to contest it. Drove Tree 60 off last time, is trying to do it again here. And Junkrat too, seeing the opportunity, just chucking in nades, knows where his bread is buttered, really.
Yeah, for sure. He has to be super careful, though. Although 360 is going to use this ult, he's going to get Kitten Please, and that's actually going to be probably more than enough to win the team fight. 360 also taking out Cytheria and her mech, and yeah, kills are just going the way of Blazing Pegasus here. So I just think them being on the high ground was all they needed for to win that team fight.
I know it's ripped straight out of Sun Tzu, isn't it, Love? You control high ground, tend to have better success. I'm sure they've been reading their Sun Tzu, to be honest, but it really does help. And an unfortunate moment there for Kitten Please as well, coming up with Cythera to help counter that Soldier ult, flew straight into it. Ooh, lots going on. Bombs out, manages to get one, and it looks like the defense might just turn this around.
Yeah, they're going to be able to hold this one as well, I believe. Surgerplat trying to get as much ult percentage after shattering as he can, but that's all she wrote. Quiet Game has that ult, though. We have the Gravitron, we have the Dragotron, and you know what? We don't have a healing ult on the side of Licorice that can counter it, so take a guess at what's going to happen here.
Yeah, we don't actually have any real. We have Tomiko with an EMP. Again, a very powerful. Can indeed turn a fight if it's used well, but coming into the situation they are, I have to agree with you. A certain grab and a certain dragon may be unleashed in rough combination with one another at this stage if they can find the right group up for it. Oh, but it's early MP6. It's big, but there's no one there to follow up. Poor Tomiko all alone unleashes the EMP, and then they just wait it out.
See, the unfortunate thing about that was Tomiko's ult was basically the only thing that could have stopped the Grab Dragon. So right now, they can just Grab Dragon. Here's the grab. Where's the Dragon? Did he
throw it short?
I think he went like too far in with the Dragon, but he was able to get John Belushi anyways, so they're still going to win this team fight. And it looks like they're going to be able to push on the point, and Tomiko only able to stop for like a millisecond, and that's all she wrote for that.
That's the game.
Wow, that was kind of interesting there at the end. All these composition changes basically is what sticks out to me from this entire map.
You know, it's not perhaps okay. So I will admit this is not a strategy that we would see in the pros, right? But there is in these lower tier sort of matches. I have seen some coaches and some players express the philosophy of swapping every once in a while, or, you know, even semi-regular basis is not the worst thing in the world, because it does kind of, in a game that can be heavily reliant on counter picks, it does force your team, your opponents to constantly switch as well, or just, you know, get rolled over by whatever you're picking. Whether I agree with that particular strategic insight or not, I don't know. The jury's kind of out for me on that one. You do, as you've said multiple times, begin to lose out in the ultimate game when you're making those kind of swaps. But they're, you know, the swaps were intelligent. I mean, they were the swaps that you would expect to see. It was just, I think the execution wasn't always in the right place, and it kind of fell on both teams. A classic example would be Tomiko's sort of EMP that we saw at the end there, and then there was just no follow-up from the rest of the team. I mean, it's a fight-winning ult, and it was well placed, but it was just once it went out, nothing happened. There was no way that they could wipe anyone out. I don't think they got a single pick off.
I don't think they did. I mean, it's just one of those situations where, at least I've had this in my ranked games, where, you know, you see this big opportunity, you see 6 people, maybe you're Zarya, maybe you're Diva or something, you're like, all right, I'm gonna use my ult right here. I'm gonna need 6 people. I don't care if my team is like all the way over there. I'm just gonna do it anyways because it's gonna be cool, and they're just gonna come in. They're just gonna deal with it afterwards. That's one of those sorts of ults, and we've seen it from both teams where they make this big play, but maybe they don't tell their team. I think ultimately it is a communication issue.
Right.
I think
And
so.
Nobody's going to sit here, right, and tell anyone who's playing Overwatch in this sort of organized play scene that communication as a team is something easy or even something that comes naturally to anyone, because it's definitely not. I mean, it's one of the hardest aspects, and I play on a sort of a high diamond, low masters team for an organized play in another organization, and it's hard. I mean, even for us, arguably like the top 10% of players, it's really hard to get that level of communication down, no matter how long you've been playing together, because it's like learning a different language. You have to pick out call outs and all sorts of things that you would not normally even think about when you're playing, in a ranked game necessarily, especially if you're in lower tiers. Oops, I think we might have. Oh no, he's back.
I'm back. Sorry, I was clicking around because I got messages in this Discord, so I was trying to make sure I wasn't getting yelled at by anyone. But it turns out I was not getting yelled at by anyone, and I accidentally clicked on the nest. So here I am. I'm back. So
it's like in Dragon Ball Z, where Goku just pops in and then pops right back. You know what I mean? He's gone. No, he's back. Anyway,
we need to have some cliffhangers like a Dragon Ball Z, though.
You're right. Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard to write the Owlet script these days and get these cliffhangers in. But it's an exciting game still. I mean, these two teams, like we said, they're pretty evenly matched. They're taking a bit of a break right now, and then they're side swapping. Neither of them looking particularly dominant. You could say that the initial push on that last map was really impressive, but then again, they didn't get there, and the other team won. So I think we're looking at one I potentially could go all the way to 5.
Yeah, I think it might do that. Although if it goes to 5 games, I think Licorice might be able to take it out. I mean, the reason why I say that is because teams that do well in in the first in the King of the Hill maps, they generally have the better mechanical skill, let's say, right?
Yes.
And we can see in the second map how Blazing Pegasus held that defense for so long because they were able to make the swaps timely. They were able to use their ults together in a way that Licorice wasn't able to do so, especially there at the end on defense. So if it goes to 5 maps, we might see Licorice taking it. Although they did lose I think they lost a 5 map game earlier. It went to 3 though, so kind of unfortunate for them. Yeah, we're trying. A lot of people are cheering for Licorice Corbec because they're kind of like the Shanghai Dragons right now. We've said that's our storyline for them. So yes, spam that.
Talk about Valiant. More justice. Any of the other organizations, but yeah, shades of Shanghai here, and I do agree with you actually to a certain extent. If I had to say, and I do again think these teams are both incredibly close right now, but if I had to say one team was stronger than the other, I'd actually say that the stronger performance is definitely coming out of Licorice Whip. They look really good on King of the Hill. They look very good on the attack, and to be honest, their defense, while not the best thing in the world, could have been good if it hadn't been for just a couple of miscues. I mean, they were really in a situation where they could have held that. Despite the presence of the Dragon Ball Ultimate on the field, they could have held that.
Yeah, so we're gonna move into Hanamura in just a little bit. I'm just curious, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the words on my tongue. Oh my god, I'm mad. I wanted to bring up something, but I can't remember it. Oh,
no one knows the best of us. Don't worry.
Oh, it happens a lot more to the worst of us. So,
that's also true. Facts.
That's why you always leave a note.
So
always leave a note. Exactly.
So Hanamura, that's a map that's in Overwatch, right?
It is a map that is in Overwatch.
Okay.
That is correct. Yes.
All right.
It's been in Overwatch actually for a significant amount of time.
Wow.
Remember? Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so it's map, and I think there's 2 control points on it. Is that right?
It is a 2 CP.
Did you say there's a castle? Whoa! There's no castle in Hanamura.
It's a castle.
It's a dojo.
Okay, it's a castle though.
Is a Japanese castle is a dojo? Is that what that is? Corbec?
No. I'm pretty sure that it's a castle with a dojo in it, not the other way. It's not a dojo.
How is it a castle? How is it a castle?
Look at it from the outside. It's a stereotypical castle looking.
Oh, yeah, I know. When I think of Hanamura's dojo, I think castle.
All right. Well, we're allowed to have our different opinions here on Japanese architectural.
We're talking about facts, Corbec. It's not opinions.
It's a castle. All right. Look at.
All right. I will look at it. Are you talking about the second point or the first
I'm
point?
gonna call Jeff. I'll call Jeff and we'll
All
figure
right.
it out. We'll hammer it out. But Hanamura is the 2 CP, right? Castle or no, you can certainly defend it like a castle, especially that first point, kind of with the three entryways, makes it vicious. I would not be surprised here if we see Tomoko again on the Pharah, considering how effective Pharah can be on that first point if she's given enough space. But what I would be more interested in is, do we see the return of the Widowmakers, or do you think that 360 stays on that soldier?
So I think 360 stays on the soldier just because of the fact that Tomiko has been playing Pharah, I think, basically whenever she possibly can, 80-90% of these games. So the Widowmaker, the reason why I say not Widowmaker, because Widowmaker does also counter Pharah. I just think the soldier's been doing a little bit more work for Blazing Pegasus, so I think 360 is going to stay on it. 360 was very dominant on the Widowmaker as well, don't get me wrong. I just feel as though it's maybe then a little bit harder for her to, or for him to kill Tomiko with the Widowmaker for some reason. I'm not sure why I'm thinking that, but I just feel as though the soldier's been doing a little bit more work.
I agree with you to a certain extent. I mean, 360 Widowmaker was very impressive, but the soldier has been forming a good sort of cornerstone of the team. Hanamura, I think, actually one of my favorite maps in the game. Honestly, so many interesting sort of plays that can be run here, defenses, whatever you want to say. I'm very interested to see kind of what they can make come out of this, given the way these two teams have played. And I think credit to both Licorice with and Blazing Pegasus Love. Neither of these teams have hesitated from reaching deep into the hero pools and playing all sorts of things. We have seen May, we've seen Soldier, Pharah, Widowmaker. We saw the McCree come out. The only things that have been pretty constant are the support lineups have not changed their heroes very much.
Although we have seen Moira, we've seen Zenyatta, we've seen Lucio, of course, we've seen Mercy. What are we missing?
Brigitte, I guess.
Brigitte. We actually haven't seen Brigitte, have we?
Baptiste has not come out yet into the rotation. We did see Anna, correct? So yeah, we have seen a lot of support heroes as well, but I feel like their stops have been far more infrequent than the DPS changes, just at least in my opinion. They seem more comfortable.
I think we've basically gone through every meta except for goats. I think we've seen every meta but goats. Like we've seen like Jetball, Two Sniper, almost.
We've seen Dive. We have not seen Ghosts. We've seen the pirate ship as well. This map, speaking of Baptiste, I think when Baptiste is released into general play, I do think, at least on the defense, this is a map that Baptiste is going to be absolutely beautiful on. Just the idea of being able to chuck an immortality field down on that gateway as your team goes for the big push through where they take so much damage, or even on the opposite end, the sort of the damage gate or whatever. If you can imagine sort of setting up a bastion up there on the little balcony high ground area and just sticking a damage gate in front of it and say enjoy coming in through one of 4 squares. We'll see how long you can survive.
Well, thinking about it makes me want to uninstall this game, but it's gonna happen. So it's gonna be annoying. We'll see. We see here Sarah DG. Look at Sarah DG, sneaky, doing the sneaky Danger Man 25 from season 1 Reinhardt strategy. Although they have Sombra, so probably gonna see it. Although I don't think the Sombra saw it, so I don't know.
No, I don't think that they did. It's an interesting choice, and it's always a little bit risky. Yup, no, they spotted it, and Sarah DG actually managed to get out before things get nasty.
Yeah, so very good on her to just get out instead of trying to go for some sort of crazy charge. But here we go. Here comes the classic Hanamura choke point. Let's see if they dash in. They're gonna slowly walk in here, take a little bit of damage. Tomiko gonna punish Vagabond for his insolence, and Quiet Game gonna walk out of there. Nope, he's gonna die out of there. So now they're gonna back up out of here. And so we know that this choke point is really hard for teams to come into. What can they do here with this team composition to push through?
Well, I think this is a matter, right, Love, of establishing what your win condition is going to be. And you have to ask yourself as a team, how do we break through here? And to me, I think the win condition is drawing enough attention off the choke that you can open up Vagabond for some space to get in the Pharah damage. And Vagabond wins the fight over the top. But I don't think it's going to be enough.
Yeah, because the kills are coming the way of Licorice. Sarah DG getting a one-man shatter onto the other Reinhardt in the Sir Derp slot, but it doesn't really matter if Sir Derp slot goes down. It's basically a win for them, and I think they only used that one ult there too, so that was actually really smart on the side of Licorice not to use their, well, I guess they didn't have any other ults to use, but if they did have other ults to use and they didn't use it, I would be saying nice things about them right now.
Full swaps coming out here too. Tree 60 switching over to the and Vagabond going over to the Hanzo, so that does things just a little bit. Right now you want Vagabond to claim some sort of high ground and just allow you to push this choke that much easier. If you can catch Tomoko right now, that's an opportunity.
Yeah, they're able to get
Tomoko. They're going to shut that down.
Yeah, so right now Sarah DG with the HGH, also purple, didn't want to go in there, but it's enough to just scare them and back them off. So yeah, they were able to get Tomoko, but just a little too late there.
So I think perhaps here you want to see if you can get Tomoko actually to do things like that and just overextend. If you can get an early pick on the far, it's a huge source of damage, and then you can really fight that up close fight. Take advantage of Hanzo's Stormbow to just chunk in as much damage to the shield as you can. Let's see if they can make that happen.
Yeah, let us see. We see the Shatter coming on Sarah DG with like 2 health on her shield, able to block it, unable to get Quiet Game with her Shatter, and so we see 2 people going now. Quiet Game trades her life for Sarah DG, and so now it's kind of a off-tank versus main tank duel, and usually the main tank wins as they did there. John Belushi getting a huge res on the Sarah DG though. We'll see if that's going to do anything for them. They're going to win something out of it. Sir Derpslot goes straight into Sarah DG, and actually they are going to win the team fight. It looks like Sir Derpslot backed up and wasn't able to hold their shield out for the rest of the team, and the rest went down behind them. So now they're going to have to back up out of there and use their ults for this final push. Vagabond has like 1 health left, and he doesn't want to get staggered, and he's going to get staggered. Wow, that's huge.
That's very unfortunate for Vagabond, but the ultimate bank now slowly coming in favor of the attackers here. So they have Nano, they have the Shatter, and they have the Dragons, and they're nearly going to get almost everything on the board. They will have a slight advantage if they can use it. If they can just keep this going for long enough, they can really turn this around. I would... Oh, Tomiko again! Oh my god, it's 3-4. Why not? Over the back. No opposition whatsoever, and that's going to win this for them.
Yeah,
almost certainly.
That early ult usage coming out there from both Tomiko and Pearl, so the HGH going out onto those rockets. Enough damage to get them all down. That's huge. They're going to use this visor a little bit early, try to get Tomiko down early. We see a lot of ults coming out, but it's not going to matter because
too little, too late.
Too little, too late indeed.
Before that, Farah Barrage came out, and well played, by the way. To anticipate that by Licorice Whip. And to execute that quite as well as they did. A lot of credit to them for pulling that off, and not a lot they could really do about it when it came down. I think it just caught them all by surprise. I did say, though, you have to watch out for Tomoko coming out, right, and try and take advantage of those opportunities where there's not as much protection. But I was actually going to say, if I was in the situation of Blazing Pegasus right there, I would have been tempted to throw the Dragons just straight down the choke point, almost as cover for your team. It's a usage of the Dragons, I think, that a lot of people don't often think of because they're so used to seeing the Dragon Ball combo and it getting just a ton of kills. But you can really use it as a space making ult. I mean, your teammates take no damage coming in through it, and if you want to turn it into kind of a fluorescent dragon bus for the rest of your team to just ride to the point, you can almost certainly do it. And I think that was a good opportunity for them to try that right there. So a bit of a missed beat, but again, not a lot you can do when Tomiko did such a great job actually just executing that. It was perfectly played.
I don't think they had enough time, even if they did that perfectly, like you said, and they herded the sheep of Licorice Whip over to the side. I mean, they would have to step on point. I don't think they had anyone fast enough to do so. But that is a very good point, though, that they could have used the Dragons. I mean, it just goes to show how good that ult from Tomiko and Pearl was, as well as the bubble, I think, from Cytheria, because
there was a lot invested in that for obvious reasons. It worked. It worked at the end of the day, and it doesn't matter. Invested in it. It's 30 seconds left on the clock. You kind of just have 1 or 2 ultimates on the deck, and you got to use them, and they used them in a really creative and effective way.
That's for sure. Now they're gonna have to go back into the toolbox. 3 minutes and 50 seconds for them to walk on the point for just 1 tick to win this one. So here comes the Mei. Mei is the classic pick if you want to stall out for just a little bit longer. So we see the classic Mei on Hanamura first point. If you get the wall perfectly in, you win the team fight. If you don't, you lose, and they got the wall perfectly in there. So
yeah. We were talking about win conditions, right, in the last match. How do we determine the last push? How do you determine a win condition? The win condition here for the attackers is they need to bait out Vagabond's wall so that when they push forward their tank, Sarah DG is not stuck on the opposite side of that. You don't set up what exactly happened on that first push. So now they know it's there. There's no excuse for surprise. They have to try and get Vagabond to throw it in a bad way.
Yeah, I was looking at Tomiko there on that Sombra. kind of interesting what they're doing here. There goes the wall once again. I think they should try using Cytheria to bait out that wall instead of doing what they're doing, which is just walking into it and kind of dying. Tomiko on the point, trying to get that back cap. They always have to look out for that. So I see the strategy now. I see the wheels turning for Licorice. They're trying to be sneaky deekies, but now they're taking a 3v6 fight, and they're all backed up. So I don't know why they're letting them get the space. Why are they doing this?
I think they're resetting the defense here. They're trying to execute the same thing they were at the choke point. They're just executing on the point. 360 actually doing a great job capitalizing on that walk there. Gets 2 with the high noon, and that'll stop the push again. But essentially what they're doing right now is because of that threat of Tomiko sneaking in the back and back having the point, I think they're just trying to set up the defense back there as if it was sort of the gate and try and use the wall like they just did to separate off the tank. So again, a lot of this comes down to, can we get Vagabond to use that wall early or badly, and then can we capitalize on it? The only other option is you wait for Tomiko to get the EMP and you just hit him with everything you have.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be the right play to do it. Oh, the Shatter came out from Surge slot, but didn't hit anyone because they were on top of the ice block. So here comes the Kamehameha wave on the Surge slot. There's no main tanks for either team. Sparks takes out Vagabond, but the EMP comes out actually onto... Oh my god, Sparks gets a 3K!
Worth it.
They're definitely worth it. They're probably going to win this fight. We only have a few more people left on the point. Quiet game. The HGH is not able to withstand the Death Blossom, and I think that's going to be it. I think that's a win for Licorice Whip.
That is indeed a win for Licorice Whip, and it was rough. The smooth execution that perhaps would have been best to see, but major credit to Pearl for getting over the top of the ice wall, for not being blocked by it, to get that sound barrier down and just keep the tank alive. And that was really what opened that up for them. And then Spark kind of just snuck around the outside there, barely noticed because of all the action that was happening on point, and just started racking up kills. Whether or not Tomiko's EMP was the best EMP in the world, I don't know. It's sort of debatable. You did say, like you said, it was unleashed in the grab, but it worked enough that they were able to capitalize on it and take the win. So a very impressive hold by them, and a little bit rougher attack, but they got the job done.
Yeah, once you have 4 minutes to go, and all you have to do is have one tick, basically all you have to do is bait out the other team's ults and then have your ults. So you have 4 minutes to do that. It's very easy to win that sort of team fight with those conditions, I think. So, you know, that's kind of what they did. But I think mostly what happened there was Blazing Pegasus using their ults a little bit too quickly, or they missed some of it, and you know, it's just kind of unfortunate because they were trying something pretty big brained with the wall and the Shatter, but it just didn't work out for them. So
I mean, one of the most basic pieces of advice, right, that's given to a lot of new Overwatch players, all players of all levels, right, is at the end of the day, Overwatch is kind of a game of ultimates, and a lot of it comes down to how does my team use their ultimates, how do we capitalize on the other team using their ultimates? And in that case, I think that ult discipline and ult usage just really favored Licorice Whip. You saw them executing really sort of, when the chips were down, they executed really sharp plays to get their ultimates out. Meanwhile, on the other side, Blazing Pegasus, you saw just a little bit of hesitation there. There were perhaps opportunities to use ultimates they couldn't quite get, and I think that contributed more than anything to them getting full held.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I was looking at chat right now. I'm seeing spam this chip to help Licorice Whip. We have a lot of Licorice Whip fans in the chat. We're going to the 4th map. Licorice Whip.
They need any help, but I'm not sure that they need the chips right now. But yeah, go.
we were just in Dorado, right? So the chips came out for Dorado. Actually, didn't work out them, so it's kind of interesting because that is the chip map, Dorado, and they lost that one. But now, time to bring out your chips, folks. We're going into the final map, which I believe, is it King's Row? What is it? Abizzle!
I believe it is King's Row.
Oh, wait, on top of that, Licorice Whip is what?
Oh, it's their best map.
Ooh, interesting. I can actually see that because of SRDG playing that Reinhardt and the Pharah and the Widowmaker. Yep. I mean, it all works into their favor. Blazing Pegasus, though, I'm not sure what they do here on... I want to see them run goats. I mean, not to, you know, say that I want to see goats, but I want to see them succeed. You know, I want everyone to succeed in life, right? Very positive. This is a very positive stream, okay? Owlet's here. Owlet is all about improvement in your life, okay? Blazing Pegasus, I know for sure you're going to improve if you run goats on King's Row. I know for sure. Because that's something that you haven't run against Licorice Whip yet, and so I think it's something that you should try doing.
I think it is actually surprising that we haven't seen goats. We haven't seen Brigitte play it at all. I mean, is as dominant as she used to be as a hero. But it shocks me that neither of these teams have run goats, despite there being situations in which goats would be very advantageous. I mean, at the end of the day, maybe it has something to do with your personnel, what you have available, whose hero pools or what, right? I mean, you play to your strengths, I guess. But I could definitely see how King's Row, like you were saying, is a map that would really favor Licorice Whip. I do see it. But that being said, Blazing Pegasus, I think, showed good quality on the defense on Hanamura. They looked like they knew what they were doing, and for a while they really did stifle Licorice Whip. Vagabond was hitting the right ice walls, was splitting the team, and Licorice Whip was kind of playing into it. It was more almost, I don't want to say fluky because it wasn't fluky, but it was a little bit awkward the way in which Licorice Whip went about winning that one. I think that coming into King's Row, if Blazing Pegasus can channel some of that sort of defensive energy that they had going, they could definitely stall it out. And by this time, going into map 4, I think Blazing Pegasus should be aware of what Licorice Whip's game plan is, and vice versa. They should be expecting a Pharah, and if they don't see a Pharah, they should be expecting a Sombra. These are just things that they should know at this point in time and be actively preparing for and taking steps to counter. And I can't imagine that's, not what they're discussing right now in this brief break.
Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna bring back a little point that you made. You said that it looked, you didn't want to say it looked fluky. I'll say it. It was quite fluky how they won that team fight. And so if you're Blazing Pegasus, after I lose a team fight like that in that manner, that makes me lose the map, I'm not feeling very good right now. Because it's not like, they outplayed us or anything like that, Instead, it's just kind of like we messed up a little bit, and then they just kind of like bum rushed us in, and then they kind of like spammed ults. And it managed to work out for them, So that doesn't feel good to lose.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, it is true. Yeah, you're 100% correct. And I mean, all credit again to Blazing Pegasus and a little bit of a discredit to Licorice Whip. They were struggling to overcome that defense. They were playing right into that mid wall every single push, and they hadn't quite figured out how they were going to crack it. Whether or not the time they had left would have been enough for them to figure out a way to crack it, hard to say. But definitely, like, they were struggling a little bit. Still 2-1 up. It's a close series, but you're playing for the map, your first win, right? An Owlet so far. A lot of pressure on them, but also probably a lot of excitement. They can see this one. You can almost taste the apple. You're so close to getting a bite of it.
Look, it's funny you mention that actually, because Licorice Whip's first map victory in Owlet was on King's Row against Blazing Pegasus.
Thank you, Raza, for coming in here. That's the coach of Licorice Whip, as well as the mortal enemy of Blinker, the mascot of Owlet. That's Raza Rep, the coach, coming in here telling us things, even though he shouldn't be in here. So shouts to Raza Rep. Corbec, do you have anything to say about his Australian accent?
No, not really. Is it Razor Rip?
I call him. Well, he probably says Razor like oh, my name's Razor
Rip. But
yeah,
I don't know. Could you imagine if in Overwatch League they're like casting and Krusty just kicks down the door to the booth and jumps in, throws in an interesting fact, and then runs back out? Hey,
I think it'd make it a little bit more exciting. Honestly, I think they should have that.
They all look a little stunned. You see, like Monty and Doa just standing there for a second as Krusty just throws himself in front of the camera. By the way, San Francisco shock.
Funny thing is, we didn't say exactly what Raza said, but we more or less said what Raza said about how like it's a really good map. It would be like if Wizard Young or whatever came into the caster booth and was like, "Did you know that Zarya's bubble cleanses the orb or whatever?" Yeah. And then just leaves.
It's really good. Really good map for Justice. Justice. I mean, I do expect it to be a good map for them, and the pressure on for them right now, but also, like I said, the opportunity to get some victory. This is where you can win it. You can take home that first win. It's great for the team, and I think that is well within their capability. This is a map and a match that they can win, and they have to know that. Blazing Pegasus, though, we haven't really talked about it as much, I think, but they have a lot at stake here too, right? They want a playoff spot, and if they can win this, this is a playoff spot guaranteed, if I understand correctly, or at least to keep them in the hunt. They're guaranteed to stay in the hunt. If they're out, they're out. So a lot of pressure on them as well, and I wouldn't discount them because these two teams have been very evenly matched.
Yo, Abizzle, do you know what happens if both Blazing Pegasus and E6 lose?
Okay. Just absolute chaos.
General chaos.
Just imagine King's Row, but everything's. That's what happened.
Yeah, there's probably some tiebreaker thing. I think they're both the same record, but I think E6 has the better map differential right now. So they do have one map on the side of Blazing Pegasus, so that's good for them. That's going for them. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to overtake them because I think they're down by like 3 maps, so they would have to win to equalize. So it might come down to the final games.
2 words: coin flip.
Coin flip. Yeah, that's what it's going to come down to. Like we have all those like fancy like tiebreaker things. Like we look at like like damage done and
Direboy flips a coin on stream on Instagram. That's it. And we're through. Looking at these setups here initially, by the way, I see kind of 360 back on that Widowmaker. Vagabond sticking with the Junkrat, so things that we would not be surprised to see them play. And on the other side, it's exactly what we would expect. Tomoko coming out on the Pharah and Spark on the Widowmaker again. And the tanks remain largely the same. So can 360 shut down the Pharmacy? That is going to be a big question right now.
Right now, this Far Mercy is doing a lot of work. They're just spamming down, getting shots into Quiet Game's bubble. Actually, John Belushi taking out Cornish. Cornish a little bit out of the way. I think he got stuck. Oh, they want to pause here. I think Cornish was DCing. They're in the middle of a team fight, though, so they cannot pause. They're going to have to keep fighting this out. Sarah DG swinging a lot onto 360. 360 getting killed on D'Amico. Excuse me, not 360. Swinging a lot on Sir Derp slot. They're going to win this team fight 5v6. So.
You hate to see it, though, to be honest. I mean, it does. It's very unfortunate. Of all the people that you don't want to lose in a 2v2 matchup at the very beginning to connection issues, I would say probably Zenyatta is pretty high on the list.
Yeah, a little high.
That's a little high. Yeah, that's what you would not like to see. And unfortunately, too, by losing him in that situation, Cornish is going to be down on his ultimate charge in future clashes. It's just bad all around. It's especially when you see Saithara on the Zarya over there, you're relying on that transcendence to keep your team alive in the grab. That is the last thing you want to see. So, kind of starting in a rough situation, a quick cap coming out the gate here. I don't know how much we can really extrapolate from it just because of the circumstances of it. It definitely threw their rhythm off, but there's still 2 phases of the map to go. So there's definitely time to stabilize. Maybe they have to think here, do we keep Tomoko on the Pharah going into just kind of speculation for the attackers, I guess. Do we keep Tomoko on the Pharah going in here to the streets phase? Not the best phase for Pharah, not a bad phase either, but with Vagabond and the Junkrat, I think it's it's far too tempting, right, to switch off the Pharah. It's far too tempting.
It's not only that, but it's also in minors. I think Pharah is, because counter to Pharah is aiming more or less. I mean, there's other ways, I suppose. You have a diva fly into our face, but aiming is basically the simplest counter to Pharah, and so when you're playing in a ELO range, SR range that is not as high as like Masters Plus, I think actually basically everything above Masters Plus you need to respect Widowmakers, but below that, you have to, I think you have to try Pharah out for just a little bit longer, especially, you're rolling right now, and they do have that Junkrat, and so, as long as Kitten Please stays connected to Tomoko and they put enough pressure in that front line, I mean, I don't see how this wouldn't work for them.
Yeah, I agree. Cornish looks like Cornish is back, so we'll be unpausing here as they jump back into the game. Presumably coming back on that Zenyatta. I don't think any big changes there. A rough loss, that first point from Licorice Whip, but they can stabilize. And it looks like that's exactly what they're trying to do in the streets phase.
Yeah, I like this aggressive posturing coming out from Licorice Whip, taking the fight to them. 360 getting the kill on the John Belushi then, so Sir Derpslot's gonna walk forward. He's gonna stop that Shatter from doing anything from Sarah DG, and Sarah DG's still gonna walk forward, does not care that the Shatter was blocked. They're gonna continue walking forward. Quiet Game getting killed on the Sarah DG though, excuse me. And that's going to be that for this team fight. It looks like they do have people on the payload. They're going to be pushing it through this choke point. So
they did it for a long time, to be fair. John Belushi coming back from a spot, I think, noticed that they were playing a little bit too aggressively and was actually the one to touch and keep the fight going. But, not perhaps the best job supporting the main tank right there in terms of Sir Derpsalot taking a lot of damage first from that Fire Strike, and then Sir DG just moving up and swinging the hammer. And first sight's out now, and a Shatter for Sir Derpsalot. So let's see if he can get a lot of advantage out of that right here. They're playing a bit of a mind game in this alleyway. Ooh.
The Shatter doesn't really do much of anything, but they do have that tire, and I think this tire is going to be pretty big. Fire Strike is down. No one able to the tire, and the tire stops 3 people in its tracks.
Oh, wow. It's huge.
That's tire for you.
That's tired for you, exactly. And I mean, it takes out both the healers. Now, an interesting note about the curse composition is actually they're running 2 main heals here. I think it's probably because they don't feel super comfortable running in off support in the heal slot while they're trying to maintain that pharmacy. But you know, that's a rough call to make, right? Because there is a Zarya on the other side. Quiet Game is building up to that grab, and when that grab is unleashed, there's literally nothing you can do really to stop it unless you have, you know, a very effective block, or you hope that the other team makes a mistake. So that's something to keep an eye on. But speaking of grabs,
yeah, here comes a grab coming out from Licorice Whip. Instead, Surge Herb Slot was in the air, so ZeroGG able to charge him into the wall like she wanted to, and so now that grab didn't actually do much of anything. They reset. Tomiko in the backline though gets 2 people and goes to sleep afterwards. Job well done. Takes a little nappy poo. ZeroGG walking for it. Picks up people and yeah, so that was very interesting from Tomiko using the pressure coming out there from the grab of Cytheria to go in there and ult the backline.
Tomiko actually doing a really good job there, kind of reading the fight, managing to get over into that backline and unleash the barrage. I was just about to say right before they did that it was a slight waste of the grab. They got a lot of people in it, and you would expect the barrage to follow it up over almost immediately, but they weren't quite able to get the combo off, so it was good they made something. Oh, big Shatter getting 2, and they're going to push in a corner. It's just a second too late with the Transcendence. That hurts just a little bit.
Unfortunate, and unable to save Surge Herb Slot. Surge Herb Slot will be coming back though with his Shatter, and so now I love the switch coming out from Vagabond going on to this Genji here, because they don't have that off support like you're talking about. There's not going to be anything to stop a Blade from doing a lot of work, so love this switch up. We'll see if Sparks and Tomiko and company can do a lot of damage before that Blade can come out. Here comes the grab. The Kamehameha wave is trying to keep them alive. That's all they can use in terms of ult. Actually, it's going to work out for them decently. Quiet Game's going to go down to the wave. Vagabond going to take Tomiko, though, out on the back line. So, wow, we see a lot of kills go in. 3 headshots quickly there. Vagabond getting 2 and Cornish getting 1. Kitten is going to go down, too. So, a lot of red on the right-hand side of that kill feed right there. So, what happened there? Because I didn't see all of that.
So two things of note I think happened in that fight. One is that Pharah's effectiveness, right, is going to decrease when you come to this interior area, and the defenders really know that at this point in time. The other big thing of note was that how much resources were invested into trying to take down the enemy main tank. There was a nano boost, there was the grab, they kept swinging, and they just could not bring ZeroGG down. But like it might about to be offering themselves up on a silver platter there, kind of a reckless charge, but they're able to come up on it. Derpsalot suffering a little bit in this neutral zone here, but a big Shatter to follow it up. Meanwhile, Tomiko in the backline again with the barrage. And Quiet Game, though, there to try and minimize some of the damage so reliable res will not go down. This fight's all over the place right now, LuvGangster. This could go in either team's way.
Yeah, for sure. They were fighting 6v4, but that Blade was pretty big. I think they were able to get at least 1 in the backlane. Quiet Game able to take out someone else, so they've been able to get their spawners in here in time. Oh, Shatter is huge. It gets 3 people. Let's see if they can do anything with it. No, they're actually not able to do anything with it because there's not enough help on the side of Licorice to push forward. And so Sparks takes a reliable res, but not until after Quiet Game gets to him. So they're just going to get out of here and reset.
That was a good reflexes there too by Derpsalot, just immediately spinning around and coming back towards his team, because there was really nobody else there to quite peel on that. And unfortunately for the attackers, ZeroGG had already taken so much damage at that point in time. With no bubble from the Cythera, they just went down. There was, as you said, no real follow-up. Tomiko actually switching off the Pharah, very sensible, switching over to that Sombra, which has been, you know, relatively effective so far tonight. Oh, it's a huge, these hammer rounds they've been trading back and forth have been absolutely massive. Now Tree 60 just following up on that. Excellent attack visor.
That actually would have been a perfect push for the Ghost Rip if Cytheria did not use her ult there. That was a really great dry push just to get all those ults out of there, because Cornish used the ult, I think Reliable Res used ult or switch characters, Sir Derpsalot used the Shatter, Tree 60 used the visor, so you know, that was basically textbook dry pushing right there, except for the fact that Cytheria used that grab, but now Cytheria is going to switch over to the Diva, which, do you like this switch?
I mean, I think it's sensible, all things considered. You know, both teams have kind of made the switch to the Diva at this point in time. I think the one thing maybe you're not going to be able to do much against Tac Visor since it's just been used, but we'll see what comes out of it. Good bomb over the top.
Yeah, great bomb. It's going to get John Belushi as well as Cytheria in her mech, I believe. There's a lot of kills going in both directions. I have no idea what's going on. Now I see what's going on. Vagabond's going to do a lot of work. That's what's going on. Tree 60 going to clean up after all the pressure from that Blade.
Yeah, and again, it's looking a little bit disorganized for the attackers right now. I do feel like they're trying to throw things at the wall now and see what sticks. I don't know if they feel a little demoralized because of the last couple of pushes haven't been successful, but whatever it is, they kind of need to right the ship. A lot's going to rise on how effective Sarah is with this hammer down, because it's the only ultimate on the board right now. It could literally turn this around if they use it right.
Right, we also have the EMP from Tomiko, so we're going to see what they can do as this combo. We see the combo coming out, we see
Excellent.
4 people getting EMP, so Tomiko a little bit far out there in the back, and they're able to get Sir Derpsal though, so that main tank down, they should be able to push forward pretty decently and get this cart close to the point, although that's a huge purple coming out there from Reliable Rose, as well as the HH on the Vagabond. Vagabond trying to get that plate as quickly as possible. Not able to do it, but he gets stuck inside. Oh, that's a big play coming out from Fight Game to keep him alive. Actually, this teamfight is going either way. I have no idea what's going on right now. John Belushi using her ult, and Cornish using his ult in response. It's a huge shot. 4 people go down. Sparks trying to use their tire to get as many people as possible. Oh, that's big. That would have gotten 3 people, but 360 doing soldier things right there, killing that tire, and now looks like this is going to go the way of Blazing Pegasus.
It does indeed, and a lot of credit here. There's Vagabond finally unleashes the blade. Just a little bit late, but that's all right. Something that really should be taken into account is that EMP Shattered combo was actually perfectly executed by the attackers, but Blazing Pegasus supports were so far back away from the fight, the Zenyatta and the Ana, that once Reinhardt went down, the team was not able to push forward quickly enough to take them out. If they had just been able to catch even one of them, either the Zen or the Ana out, I think you would have seen a team fight win there for Licorice Whip, and probably they would have completed the map. But very good positional awareness from both those healers to be backed off the Reinhardt. It was almost like, and I'm not sure, but it's almost like they expected what was going to happen in terms of the EMP and the Shatter, maybe to follow it up, and they played accordingly using their tank as bait. It kind of looks like that was the plan.
They did a pretty good job if that was their plan. I'm going to give them credit for it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's big brained.
It looked like a plan. Yeah, it's a big, wrinkly brain plan. That was exactly how you would expect some teams to play that. The one thing that could have gone differently would be maybe Tomiko dropping the EMP on the supports instead of the Reinhardt and just trying to burn the Zenyatta very early on. And I think we would have seen that perhaps at higher tiers of play. But again, the way that the supports were distributed, it would have been a little hard to actually get that off. It was just good positioning on the part of Blazing Pegasus.
Right, because when you use the EMP on the main tank, you're trying to get that Shatter in, right? Because they can't hold the shield anymore. And so the hope is that they have also the supports in the backline getting shattered by your... And so, you know, that was really good position, as you say. So we go into this final attack here. Big things on the line for both of these teams. What's your prediction here?
I mean, I do think right now this is Blazing Pegasus' map to win. Keep a good eye on 60, how quickly he can build up a attack visor, and how well he manages to counter Tomiko on this far. If Tomiko is largely uncontested, this is a good hold from the first one.
Yeah, I do not like this push for this team composition from Blazing Pegasus going in through this tight corridor where Tomiko can just rain down justice. Although 360 is gonna able to get some decent damage up, but not able to do anything else. Sir Dripslot taking a lot of damage on that shield, trying to stay alive as long as possible. They're actually able to push him a little bit longer. Wow, they get 2 people, one after another. Sarah DG using the Shatter to try to stabilize this team fight, and it looks like they're able to do so. A Shatter's going to come out from Sir Dripslot. I'm not sure if he got booped up or something, but not
Something's
very
got to
good
get back
for
on
them.
point, though.
Yeah, they
There
do.
it is,
They
finally.
make sure to stop it. They're able to stop it from even one tip going out. Although it looks like they're going to turn this team fight around, even though it looks like they were going to lose it at the beginning. Now they're going to win it as Cytheria goes down, and that's all she wrote for that team fight. So after they were able to get 2 quick kills after the Sarah DG shatter, what happened?
Well, I mean, it was again kind of a classic I've been seeing both these teams have, the inability to kill the stragglers or dollars, as it were, on the point. It was a good Shatter to try and turn it around. They followed it up, but then there was a charge in there that took one of the Reinhardts kind of out of commission, and you could just see from the minute that it was just Cythera kind of on the point as a Zarya with very little support from the rest of the team, that it was just a lost fight, because then the respawn advantage starts to kick in, and the attackers are already filtering back in, and there's not a whole lot you can do in that situation, Lev. I mean, it was a loss. It was destined to be a loss at that stage, but Ultimate economy, pretty close right now. A grab coming up from one side. Nobody really on the other side who can counter that. So we'll see how they can kind of follow up on that. That's going to be a big ult. Tomiko down already, though.
Yeah, 360 has been doing so much work in that soldier. What do you do to counter? Excuse me, to counter him. Oh, huge header though coming on the meanwhile. There's 4 people going down. Everyone's gonna go down the side of Licorice. There's nothing you can do here. Well, that's a pretty good bubble to get Kid please a little bit out, but it doesn't look like it's gonna be much. They're just gonna get staggered.
Just delaying the inevitable there on Kitten Please, but a valiant effort. It's nice to see an off-tank, peeling, trying to keep their support alive. But boy, rolling forward right now, Blazing Pegasus looking pretty dominant. But again, alt economy is still relatively equal. There are opportunities to be had here. A lot will come down to whether Scythera can get a good grab and they can follow it up with the barrage. That's what I would be looking for right now. As far as countering out the soldier, I think it's a swap off the Pharah and probably over to something like a Sombra. Maybe pick up a Diva of your own and just try and shut them down. But again, Tomoko going down early, that's not what you want to see.
No, it's not what you want to see at all. The HH goes in the Sir Derp slot, the bomb goes in the backline, able to get John Belushi with it, and again, he's also going down, so BP still rolling here. Vagabond using the Reflect to get Spark with her own shot, so they are rolling easy peasy lemon squeezy right now. 5 minutes to push the cart just a few meters forward, so if you're Licorice Whip, how do you hold here?
You gotta get the ults out. You gotta get the ults out here, no matter if Tomiko is alive or not. We have to grab. You have to do it. Good grab, actually not bad. Unfortunately, that wall kind of helps them out there. It knocks them up. I saw maybe a shade of what was going on, but Spark not able to really communicate that one out with the team. They're going to regret that. Blade in the back line now. Vagabond swinging away for the fences. Gets to Tomiko, unleashes, point blank. Almost all of it is DM'd, but they do get the res in there. It's just Sarah trying to hold on. Can't do it, and they'll push this through, and that will end it, Love, and that is unfortunate.
That is unfortunate indeed. Licorice Whip, I feel like, just did not have a semblance of idea how to counter the team composition. I just don't think they understood how to counter any sort of big, like, bursty ults, like a Blade or anything like that. They did not go Zenyatta, they did not go Lucio. They just kept with the two main supports, and it did not work out for them there.
And so much aggression too coming out of the other team. They really just pushed. Blazing Pegasus never really even gave them an opportunity to sort of that and to check their sort of strats or their plans or whatever it is. 360 on that soldier is providing constant pressure with those new sort of damage numbers that he's been gifted. So it did indeed come to map 5 here. And again, these two teams pretty evenly matched. This is going to be one heck of a last map. This is going to be some intense stuff.
You almost said the HE double hockey sticks words right there, Corbec.
Pretty sure that gets me shot. I'm not sure what. Thrown into prison? I don't know what happens, but
you're gonna be sent to the Owlet gulags.
Oh, God forbid. not on my Christian Owlets. Anyway, looking ahead to the last map, this is gonna be an absolute brawl. When you just think of what's on the line here for both these teams. Licorice Whip looking to get their first win. It's so close, but Blazing Pegasus trying to stay in the playoff hunt. This is exactly what they want. They wanted to win on King's Row. It's Licorice Whip's best map by their own admission. Like, this is do or die time for both these teams. And if there's ever a time to pull out all the stops, stretch those tired fingers and kind of get back into it, this is it.
For sure. I mean, leadership has to be a little bit demoralized. I mean, Razorip came into our caster booth and started saying, "Oh, leadership is so good." And after losing that map very convincingly, they lost it. I don't know. What would you be saying right now if you were Razorip and you're inside of that chat?
I mean, I don't know anything about them, but their personalities or whatever. But if I was in the chat, I would saying, look, we cleaned up on Busan, right? Which is King of the Hill. We looked really strong, right? We're going into another King of the Hill map. It's Nepal. This is a map that is advantageous to us. This is the kind of map where we play well, right? What are the maps that they've struggled on? They've struggled on the pure escort and in the hybrid maps. The map that they excelled on was the King of the Hill. So here we are, King of the Hill. Settle everybody down, get them in check, and you go out there and you win this. I mean, this is your opportunity. This is the kind of map you are good at. This is where you take the W. And I think they can do it. Meanwhile, on the other side, Blazing Pegasus, you've just taken a crucial map win, kept your team alive. The momentum is still going. I don't even think you're thinking about Busan map 1. I think you're just thinking, how do we carry on with the momentum that we've just built up?
Mm-hmm. Well, I have just taken a quick peek-see over at the other stream that's going on right now. That's Quantum Charge versus Echo 6. Echo 6 is the 6th place team right now, and Blazing Pegasus is the 7th place team, so very important. for these two teams to see who is winning and who is losing. Echo 6 right now currently up 2-1 over Quantum Charge, and right now they're in their own King's Row. So we'll see what happens with that. If Echo 6 wins out here 3-1, I believe Licorice Whip, excuse me, if Blazing Pegasus wins 3-2 and Echo 6 wins 3-1, that means their map differential is a -1 after what it currently is. I'm just gonna say a bunch of numbers here. Let's see. I'm gonna look at the thing. I'm gonna do it right.
Owlet math.
Owlet math by the person who has a major in English. Let's see.
Everybody get your whiteboards out. All of those of you who are.
Okay. So right now Echo 6 is -13 and Blazing Pegasus is -16. So that would make them -17 compared to Echo 6. Well, it would put them -1. So they would be down 4 maps. So Echo 6 would have to lose and Blazing Pegasus would have to win, more or less.
Yes. I think that is the situation we are sitting in right now.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So all of this all depends on this last map, the Licorice Whip. Needs to come out here and, show up Blazing Pegasus if they want to play spoiler.
If there's ever a time to play spoiler and to reach deep inside yourselves and that inner Licorice core and just whip it out, this is the time, right? What shot, indeed. A little bit of rough kind of at the end there for Spark on the May sort of messed things up. Initially, I thought that May wall was going to come out and they were going to shoot the grab into it. It's maybe a creative way of avoiding a deep eat.
I think that was the idea.
I think that was the idea. It was just slightly misplaced. And instead, it popped them up over the top. But here we go. Final maps. Let's see what they come out with here. I think, again, do we see the Pharah? Have they given up on the Pharah? Look,
Tomiko is not going to give up on the Pharah. I think Licorice is one of those sorts of teams that just they know what they like to play and they just stick with it for the most part. Okay, so Tomiko's going to come out on Pharah. I've seen goats literally I've seen Nepal so much I'm sick, and I see goats every single time. So I'm happy to see the Pharah come out here. I don't know what Blazing Pegasus is going to run because they are all over the place. I assume they're going to run a Soldier's account of the Pharah and. Beyond that, who knows? They're going to run a Pharah, actually.
What we would expect. Oh, no, Vagabond coming out on the Pharah. We did see Vagabond. Switches back to that Genji. Likes the Genji. The Genji actually was very effective on King's Row. I think it put a bit of a wrench in their plans. They didn't quite know how to do with it. Spark coming out of the Junkrat again. Oh, it's a bit of an iffy call, just considering how dominant 360 Soldier has been. And then the tank and support lineups look pretty similar to what they have been. Pearl back on that Lucio. Cornish actually taking over on the honor roll. So going with the 2 main healers again, or arguably main healers, as we come into this final map. It's all on the line. Let's see who manages to pull it off.
Yeah, let's see who gets these ults up first. I think that's going to decide who wins this map, because right now, these two teams are just looking at each other, looking menacingly at each other. They're not even pressing left click. Actually, I'm just kidding. They're pressing left click. They're doing damage, folks. They're pushing forward. Surger's going to do the first charge into Sarah DG and actually get Sarah DG. That's super aggressive, but they're able to do a lot of work with it. Right now, they're sipping a lot of damage there on the side. Oh, it's a big res on the Sarah DG, but not after Cytheria goes down. Sparks is going to go down, too, after a big sleep from Cornish. And so now the team fight can go either way. Charges, damage, everything is going either way, but looks like Blazing Pegasus is going to get the better of it.
You can already see the impact that 360 Soldier is having on Tomiko's Pharah play. Tomiko is actually on the outside edge trying to pick fights with the Soldier 76, trying to take him out of the fight early, not succeeding in doing that, but in the meantime depriving the team of a huge source of damage, the kind of damage they need on the fight to help their Reinhardt win, and that ultimate advantage already in favor now of Blazing Pegasus.
Tomiko switching over to that Reaper, not feeling as though she was doing enough work on the far. There goes a boop and a block, so great job from Licorice Whip to stop that from happening, and now the Reaper's going to walk forward with this and try to do as much damage as possible. SirDG taking out Sir Drop Slot. After Sir Drop Slot takes out SirDG, somehow, I don't know how that works out. Okay, Pearl takes out Quiet Game, but Quiet Game comes back, so the 5v5, and here comes the Blade. Let's see if the Blade can do anything.
That's a good bubble on the Blade as well. Keep Vagabond up. They're going to unleash Attack Visor here. They really win that.
They really do want to win this team fight. They're going to use a lot of ults to win this team fight, but they probably are going to get it here. SirDG is actually able to come back here. Here comes the tire from Spark, see if he can get anyone. Reliable Res is taken out after using Valk, so that's actually huge for them because SirDG is going to use that pressure to go in there and do as much damage as possible. But a big purple coming out there from Cornish. The Pishar is able to kill SirDG, and so now this team fight is it's still going on. I don't know what's going on anymore. Tomiko is able to stay alive just a little bit longer. Quiet Game stuck in that trap. This is... I don't know what's
They're
going
gonna
on.
turn this around, actually. Tomiko on that Reaper doing so much damage with the self-heals, just will not die on the point, and they have no answer to it. There's nothing they can do with just the heroes they had remaining, and they're gonna hard reset that. I mean, almost at the magic 85% number there that you really need to sort of make it a one team fight thing, but not quite. But a good retake by the folks from Licorice Whip. And a lot of credit to Tomiko. Good switch onto the Reaper, just gives up finally on that Pharah battle and is going to unleash some damage point blank.
Yeah, so here comes...
Oh, there it goes again!
Big Death Blossom. Not only was it the Death Blossom, but the big bubble coming out there from Scythera. Excuse me, I've been saying Scythera this entire match, and I apologize, but congrats on that big bubble, because that's what allowed you to win that team fight right there. Huge example, it's a textbook example, excuse me, of using your ults before the other team can do anything about it.
The Licorice Whip does such a good job, actually, such a good job of enabling their DPS ultimates. They get the bubbles where they need to be, they get the healing beam on the Reaper, they set up everything exactly as it needed to be. Oh, and a big grab though with the blade. Oh, there's nothing they can do.
No, not much they can do at all. There's a lot of ults being used though on the side of Blazing Pegasus. They're going to stall at this point a little bit longer. Tomiko, actually, they have 4 people still alive, so that's very interesting. They were able to kill as many people as I thought they were with those 3 ults. It looks like now they're going to fall by the wayside. John Belushi and Scythera go down, and so they're just going to stall at this point just a little bit longer, try to get Sarah DG in here. Here comes Sarah DG with those bombs in the background, and Sparks is going to try to stabilize with this tire. They're able to get Vagabond, which is going to be pretty big because now they're not going to have that ult, but they're going to have this ult. Here comes Visor from 360, bumped up into the air, maybe able to shoot a little bit over the shield as a result, and he's got the HGH on him, so now they win this team fight here, and he's still walking forward, doing a lot of damage. 90%, 10% left for them. What are they going to do here to win this team fight?
I mean, well, John Belushi is solo coalescing onto the point. Maybe not the strat they needed at that point in time, but there's a strategy here. It allows the rest of the squad. This is just going to be a brawl. They have to take Sir Derpsalot out first. The Valkyrie ends, and there he goes down. Will they be able to capitalize it? Both Reinhardt's being traded out. Vagabond, though, unleashing the blade from on high. Sound barrier coming out almost immediately. Will keep the team up here as they continue to fight. You hear the Reaper all come out. It only gets one. It's pretty much even on the point. A lot of pressure for them just to come alive. No, another attack visor, and Sir Derpsalot back with the big slam to just clear the deck. But here comes the delay again. It's Hammond. Not enough, though. Oh, so close.
Really close for the folks at Licorice Whip. They almost turned that one around, but Vagabond's blade was just a little bit stronger than the Death Blossom in the back by Tomiko. Or is it Sparks? Is Sparks playing Reaper now?
No, I think Tomiko is still on the Reaper. Pretty sure.
Okay.
It's so close. I mean, we're so close. They were so close. Both these teams just neck and neck here. Love, and really it's a matter of inches. I honestly thought that Licorice Whip was going to win that because of the kind of awkward way in which 360 used the nano visor, but then 360 got the visor, got the attack visor back so quickly on the Soldier 76. He was able to unleash it again. Also, just a little shout out to Pearl on the Lucio doing an absolutely spectacular job of getting the initial stall on that point that even gave his team a fighting chance for them to come back in, just riding around the pillar of the Lucio and keeping it alive. And as they come in here, the composition maybe a little bit more favored towards Licorice Whip, but they're playing for it all right now. I mean, this is a do or die map for them.
Yeah, it is. That's for sure, and they're gonna have to make sure they don't die here. They have a lot of... This is a weird team fight there. We have like people coming in the right-hand side, we have people coming in main, so a little bit not grouped here for Blazing Pegasus. Maybe Licorice can do something to take advantage of it. Sir Derpsalot is just going to go in the backline. Actually, they're going to do a big pincer attack here. They're going to take out the backline of Licorice Whip, and they don't know how to deal with this.
The fight continuing, there's a good pull on 360. That's kind of what they needed to take some of that damage out, but Sir Derpsalot in behind comes in hard on Sarah DG. The fight's still going on. There's still plenty of point presence. Both support and Scythera still alive. Are they enough to turn this around? You hear the Widowmaker now getting involved. One of those supports needs to go down. They're investing 2 ultimates in this, though, right off the bat to just try and keep this fight alive. Anybody going to try and contest here? No, I think it's over, Love. And that's... Oh, that's a rough initial assault, but really taking advantage of sort of the slowness of the Orisa compared maybe to the faster movement. I say that most dubiously. Faster movement of the Reinhardt, but 360 going down again early. That's a pick they want to keep making.
Wow. So the boot.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for Tomiko. But it still looks like they can win this team fight here. They're gonna push forward on the right-hand side and catch a few people off guard. Vagabond using his reflect perfectly to make sure the damage doesn't go into the shield. Sparks takes out Vagabond. Vagabond takes out Sarah DG. So that's a win for Blazing Pegasus as we see Cornish no more shield for Licorice Whip, and that's what happens. You get hit with the jar, and so now they're gonna have to back up out of here. We see someone on point trying to cap it, but the back cap is not gonna do much for him. Tomiko is gonna have to get out there, able to get out, and they just need to regroup here.
Yeah, they do need a hard reset. I mean, the pressure not ever really being let up. These tiny, really good coming in from the other side, just completely stopping their attempts to regroup. Now reliable res. Oh, it's a big EMP. Now this is an opportunity. They can follow up on this. No, Derpslot has another shatter. He's actually just going to shut it down right there. They're not going to get any value to Amiko's EMP at all. And oh no,
that's
all
crazy.
The hopes and dreams here of all those Licorice Whip fans just slowly fading away. It's going to need some real heroics for them to win this. The ultimate bank not even slightly in their favor. Maybe if Spark can get a huge tire here, they might turn this around, but this is the most uphill of uphill battles at this point in time.
Yes, it is, especially with Tomiko almost going down there. They're going to have to regroup just a little bit. The bubble being used early as well from Sarah DG, so maybe a little bit of I don't know, nerves or something. But here comes the tire. Tire gets her Derp Slot before he can do anything, but the HGH Blade comes out here swinging that hammer, able to get Pearl with it. He's going to get booped around from Sparks, and so now they're going to be able to push forward here with that. Looks like they're going to win this team fight, possibly. They're going to back off of it, and they're going to win the point, possibly. They are going to try to contest it. They're on the side of Blazing Pegasus 360, using his blade to get Sparks. Cytheria is also able to go down to Cornish, so now it's not looking very good for Licorice Whip. They need to do all they can to stop it from going the way of Blazing Pegasus. Vagabond taking out 2 with 1 dash. And that's not looking good for him. No,
and it does look like we'll see the end there.
I'm very sad. I don't know what to say. It looked like Licorice Whip was doing so well there at the beginning. The first 3 maps, they were just doing so well, and then now we get to the last 2 maps, and it just kind of fell apart for them.
It did really fall apart there. I mean, honestly, an incredible effort by both these teams, playing with their, absolute best, putting all their heart into it. And at the end of the day, it just was Blazing Pegasus that kind of came down with it. Just a little bit more coordination, looking really dominant on those last 2 maps. Really, everything coming online for them, and maybe they just needed that brief warm-up time. I don't know what it was, but Licorice Whip, again, it's a close loss. I can tell that's obviously going to be very frustrating for them, but this is winnable. I mean, they're a good team. They matched Blazing Pegasus stride for stride. It really only started to go south at the very bitter end, and even then it was still really close. There's a lot of hope for them, and I do think that they'll have a chance to get that elusive win. They play again next week, correct? I mean, they do have another shot.
Yes, they do have one more shot. I don't know who they're playing against next week, though. I think it's one of the top teams, though, so it's going to be very difficult for them to win it out here. Blazing Pegasus getting the win that they need, though, to stay in the playoff hunt. I'm going to take a quick peek before we go to interviews, because they want interviews really bad, so we're going to do that. I'm going to take a quick peek at what the other match is looking at right now, because if it's a 3-1 victory for E6, I feel as though it's going to be very difficult for Licorice Whip to, for Blazing Pegasus to go on to the next round. Let me take a look real quick, though. Abizzle, do you have it up?
All fairness to Blazing Pegasus, though, keeping it alive. They kept their playoffs so alive. It was a win they needed to. Licorice Whip kind of giving them a run for their money, but they did a really good job at the beginning of stabilizing their ship and just coming back and getting everything exactly where it needed to be in order for them to get that win. Because I can tell you, going into this with a team that hasn't won a game yet, you don't want to be the team that gives them their first win, right? Nobody wants to be in that situation. They got boomed a little bit on that first map. Second map, they sort of wrenched it back, but that third map, they were looking pretty grim. So all credit to Blazing Pegasus, right, for wrenching it back around and keeping it together and winning out.
For sure. And so now we're going to take a little talksy poo with the folks, at Blazing Pegasus. So I'm going to send you over to Corbec just by yourself, just to talk with them. I'll be joining you in a second here. Okay. Here we go. Move you to... Yeah, you have to move to Abizzle. How do I move you? Oh, this is so difficult. Here, I got you, Corbec. That's hard for me. Okay, here you go. Here you go. Okay, and then you go here, and then you go here. Oh.
I've got Shatter for next fight.
Sir Derpslot.
Yeah, Sir Derpslot, shouting out Sir Derpslot right now, folks, in the interview. So if you have any questions to ask Blazing Pegasus, please put them in the chat right meow. So
30-minute
there's so be sure to think about your questions. I'm sure they know.
Very, very hard. And we'll get them in 3 minutes. But so how are we feeling, Blazing Pegasus? You keep your playoff hopes alive. It was looking a little dicey there for a second. How did you guys manage to, right the ship and keep going to look so dominant on those last maps?
We got our comms better.
Look,
Yeah,
this
dude,
is
it
what
was
we decided
legitimately
to
our
do.
comms.
This is what it was. We all decided to speak
Yeah,
productively.
So
productively, that's the key.
I actually think I can answer this the best. Their comps before have always been kind of muddy. Been telling them like, hey, if what you're gonna say isn't beneficial to the team, just don't say it. Like, just keep stuff that can actually help your team in comms, and everything else, just be quiet, keep it to yourself, and move on.
So the sort of, I guess, for me, I feel like one of the maybe like the lowest moment for you guys came not on Busan or anything, but on that Kings Row, right? Initial defense when Cornish's internet, I guess, decided to go the way of the dodo, and I can tell that you guys were just sort of panicking for a second there. After that specific moment of panic, how did you just come back so hard? Because you guys did so well at the end on the defense. What was it that triggered? Was it just clearing the comms, or did someone take the reins?
I'm
actually
to Genji.
Well,
Yeah,
so
Genji.
two things. So we switched to Genji, and the other thing is that I started being very assertive. Let's just push them, because I noticed a lot of times their Widow would be really out of position, and so because of that, she had no good sightlines. And if we just push them, it effectively gave us a 5v6. So that was probably the biggest thing that I noticed that just let us just really roll them. Was they just were almost down a player because we pushed effectively.
Interesting. Now, I want to talk about that pick Vagabond when you switched over to that Genji. They had 2 main supports. Was that part of your reasoning why you went to Genji for that big burst, or was it just you felt the blade? The blade was in you right now, and you had to use it.
Dude, it was more well, I'm not putting enough damage as Junkrat. I like more direct damage, which is why I prefer like Hanzo over Junk, but then I was like, I'm gonna play Genji because Fort said he wanted a Genji VOD, so I played Genji.
Interesting. Okay, so you did it for the VODs.
I did it for the
You
VOD.
played Genji for the VOD?
Yes.
You meme lord.
Dude, I didn't know we were gonna win the game.
But alright, so I have a better answer for that question. In all honesty, the double healer pick for the double main healer pick was actually to enable Derps. He's really solid on being aggressive as Reinhardt, but with a traditional support lineup like Ana Zenata just didn't have the healing output to keep him alive. So we decided, fuck it, let's put all of our power into the Derps.
Interesting.
And then I just pressed W with Genji.
I just pressed W with Genji. It's that simple, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here. So the word right on the street, I'm sure you guys are dead, right, is that Pegasus guy came out guns blazing, no pun intended, at the beginning, and things sort of tapered off. You've had a bit of a rough time, and now you're kind of in the playoff hunt. Things are looking a little bit rough. How do you guys feel about your odds of sort of making it into the playoffs and carrying on a successful playoff run now? Does this match give you some confidence in your ability to do that?
I think it
Who are we
should.
playing next?
So
I actually don't know.
So I definitely think that this win should give them some confidence, because I've always told them that individually they strong players. They just need to work together. And as long as they can work together and actually have the target call, the focus, and everything that they need, then they were going to win the fights. And then they proved that to themselves in scrims, and they've proved that to themselves now, to where once they actually started target calling, they were winning. But to to kind of explain the roughness between stage 1 and stage 2. I'm guessing that's how that's correct, right? It was stage.
Right.
It was stage 1. Okay. So the roughness between stage 1 and stage 2 was because at the end of stage 1, we had some players that actually made it to majors. So
Right.
they moved up to majors, and then we had some players just decide they didn't want to be on BP anymore and just go to different teams. And so basically we had to rebuild our entire lineup in the span of about 3 days. So
Well,
it
you know,
was-
you seem to have snapped back at least today. In that.
Yeah, it's been an upward battle. But they're definitely getting there. They're a lot stronger together now. They're actually, like I said, they're actually communicating with each other. They're getting used to each other and how each other play.
I have a question for you guys, specifically Tree 60, because when I first saw you were playing Reinhardt. You were playing Reinhardt, and I looked at your competitive hours before, and it was like number 1 Widowmaker, number 2 Reinhardt. Like, you don't usually see that. So I want to know, like, what happened here in the team that caused you to switch from the main tank position to the DPS, because it worked out for you guys, especially with that soldier.
So can I actually explain this instead of Tree?
Okay, fine.
You can okay. So for me, as a coaching perspective, it was because I realized that Tree is actually a god tier hit scan player for his level.
Because our hit scan don't show up.
Derps, stop.
Stop
Rip. But it's it was just because like we were messing. Honestly, we were messing around one day. After a scrim, we decided to go into a custom lobby and just play Widow 1v1s and headshot only. And I noticed that Tree was kind of keeping up with me, and I was like, okay, this is a little scary. And then we decided to actually try him out in a scrim on hitscan, and he popped off. So I'm like, Tree, you're playing hitscan now.
Yeah, I'll also kind of add to this. I'm a CS player by heart, and
Nice.
yeah, and so when I switched to Overwatch, I always figured that like my aim just wouldn't be good because I'm really good at kind of holding those corners, and much more passive aiming in CS, whereas in Overwatch it's a lot more aggressive. And what I found out was that I have better aim than I thought I did. So after we kind of made the tank switch, Derps I think is a really good main tank, and I figured that if I can help out in the DPS slot and we have a great main tank, then honestly we'll do just as well, if not better, than we did before. So
Sure.
I made the switch, and yeah, it seems to be
What do you
working.
mean? How about the DPS slot, dude? You think my carrying was?
So
Does
I think
the chat have any questions?
The chat, Fat Michael, spam that type to shout out Fat Mike, did ask how you guys decided upon running the Soldier Genji, although we kind of already touched on that a little bit. But the Soldier seemed like a pick that, I don't know, to me it was like you guys just like for some reason picked it because it just felt right, and then like it worked so well that you just guys kept running it. But I don't know if that's actually the case or if you practiced it. But
I have the answer
No, I
for
was
that
just-
one. The reason we decided to go Soldier is actually because of the most recent patch, and he got that buff to his damage, and he now has really solid damage. And the fact that Tree is really good on hit scan, it was just felt natural to throw him onto Soldier.
As for the Genji, is because Vagabond is a one trick.
Yeah.
I see. Interesting. Well, that's going to be it for the interviews because we have a match on the other side that you guys need to watch. It's Quantum Charge versus Echo 6. Echo 6 being taken to a 5th map right now, so you guys should go take a look at Owlet tournament right now.
Just sleep.
You don't sleep until you see whether or not you're in the playoffs. So go
I'm
look at that
totally going
tournament.
jumping.
So go look at that. Twitch.tv/Owlet tournament. Go watch, folks. I am LuvGangster. I think Cornish just left. Or not Cornish, excuse me. Corbec left. Where is he? He left.
He did. Yeah.
I'll talk for Cornic's sake. My name's that's not how he sounds. Corbec. My name's Corbec. And this has been an Owlet production, folks. Stay tuned for that E6 QC matchup. Good night.
My-